Hello, arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Today, we've got a very special guest in the house. We have the one and only Tech Buzz Gaming. And Steven, let's say hi to Steven. How's it going today?
What's going on, man?
So I've been having guests here, every few weeks, every other week, I'll have someone on, and I just couldn't think of a better special guest than to have you, Steven. I've been watching you since I started collecting home arcade, back when I had first bought my Final Fight for $75 at Walmart. I think your channel was the very first channel I found on YouTube about these types of products. So it's kind of special, big opportunity for me to have you on the channel. You want to say hi to everybody? Tell them about your channel and what you cover?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me on here. I'm sorry that I had to be the first channel that you saw in this space. And certainly, if you were married, I would have said, I apologize to your wife, because that's usually what everybody says. Like, get in trouble with the wife because now they're spending money. So, yeah, I mean, I've been kind of MIA for a while with live shows and stuff, but I've been doing a lot of content still on my Tech Buzz Gaming channel with shorts and stuff. I just found I'm getting a lot of more interaction with the shorts and things like that, and I'm holding off, and I know we'll get to this later in the show, but I'm holding off. I've got a baby coming
Hmm.
any day now,
Congratulations.
so I appreciate that. So I didn't really want to get started back up and then have to take like a break. Like,
Right.
I know everybody understands that. So when you asked me to come on here, I was like, yeah, I'll come on and hang out with you. I think it'll be cool. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we can get you, live on air. We haven't seen you in a while, so this is great to have you on here. We're going to be talking a lot of home arcade. I know you've been doing a lot of hunting lately and not much arcade, so we'll get you up to speed on all the news and get your opinion on all these new products we have coming out. But let's say hi to the chat first. I want to say hi to everybody here. It looks like Jason is in the house. He was the very first chat when I posted the live stream. He says, "Hey, Biggie D's Arcade. Hey, Steven. Catch you boys tonight." Then we got Papa Brad's Gaming. Good to see you. It says awesome. We've got Canadian 77 saying this is after the football game. Very good. And saw the Bills and KC game. KC was winning with like a minute left. So you guys will have to give me the good or bad news. I was pulling for the Bills. Let's see
KC
here.
won. KC won
Oh,
27 to
KC won.
24.
Okay.
Yep.
Bills are done. That's a bummer because, they've never made it to they've made it to Super Bowls. I don't think they've ever won a
No,
Super Bowl.
our Cowboys beat them both times.
Yep. And so I was pulling for them. Kansas City, they're there every year, it seems like. So it's like, I want someone new.
Yeah.
We're both Cowboys fans, so we're in the same boat right now. Andy's Game Room, good evening, everyone. Goofy Foot, hello, Andy. And Atran Fanatics here. I haven't seen Atran in a few weeks. Good to see you, buddy. He's saying, hey, people. And Brooklyn Menace is here as well, doing his emojis we always see when he enters into the chat. Good to see you, Brooklyn. And Adam's here saying, let's get it on. King Ed AV, good to see you, King Ed. So we got a lot of people in the house tonight. Johnny Blaze and Bo Knows Tecmo and Mike Hawkhurts. Good to see everybody. If I missed your name, I apologize, but I want to get into these subjects because it's been a couple weeks. I was out of town. What was it? Last weekend in Texas. I was visiting my family there, so I didn't have a live stream last week. And we've had just like a ton of news, home arcade related here in the last 2 weeks. So I got a lot lined up for us to talk about. And the one subject I want to start with first is going to be my arcade. This is a subject that I've been covering quite a bit. I think it's interesting mainly because Arcade One Up has slowed down quite a bit lately. We haven't seen new products from them, nothing exciting coming out of Arcade One Up. So I started thinking what products or what, retro arcade type products are going to fit into the home arcade community to kind of fill the void and to make us excited again. And, my arcade's one I've been following closely, not because they make anything like Arcade One Up makes, but because they are doing something, I guess you could say different. And also they're advancing and they're also creating new and better products each year. They quite haven't gotten to what Arcade One Up creates, but that could be coming at some point in the future. We've seen them do very cheap, I guess you could say, inexpensive arcade related toys, things that you see at CVS or you'll see at Walgreens. And then they stepped it up a little bit and we started seeing stuff at Walmart and Best Buy. Well, this year they're actually really advancing. They're really bringing us some new and exciting stuff. And the one product I was most excited about that they announced at CES was this Mega Player. Just kind of taking a look at this Mega Player from what they have here, which isn't much. It's just saying that it's officially licensed, fully playable titles, a 10-inch high resolution display, and a classic wood construction. So, what's exciting me right now is they're using now wood construction as opposed to that cheap, inexpensive plastic mold that they've used in the past. They're also using a much bigger screen, which is now 10 inches. It's a high resolution display, so I assume that's going to be HD. And then we're also getting what we've been accustomed to, which is officially licensed arcade titles. So just right off the bat, Stephen, what do you think about My Arcade, what they're doing, and what you've seen from CES so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, as somebody that's been to CES multiple years in a row back 2011, I don't hold the things that come out at CES to actually coming to market. I mean, I've seen stuff take 4 or 5 years. Now, I'm not saying this is because My Arcade, obviously, they have the track record of bringing this stuff out. But my question with some of this, and maybe it's just because I don't know enough about it, of these brand new products, is My Arcade, correct me if I'm wrong, and chat room can kind of help. Didn't they do like a micro player at some time, which kind of looked like this, but it was smaller and it was like $40? Like it
Yes.
wasn't, and it was an Atari 50th. Am I right?
Yeah, they have an Atari 50th micro player. I don't even know what all the names are called. Actually, I
Yeah.
could probably bring up the website just to make it a little
Okay.
bit easier
And
here.
they have the handheld too. I think they had like an older handheld. I guess long story, but what are they trying to achieve with this? Like, how many times can they emulate Atari? Like, how many, like, Biggie, like, if you have one of these devices already, like the micro player or like one of the older devices, are you gonna buy this and have it emulated all over again? Same game, same lineup, same basically form factor?
Yeah, so you're saying if you purchase the micro player, what's going to make you want to purchase this new super or mega player?
Yeah, because looking at your picture there, that's what I thought. I thought it was around the same size screen. I could be wrong. The new one might be 5 inch. I don't I didn't really see the specs of it, but I guess my thinking is like if guys have this already, what's compelling? Like you're looking at this now, what's compelling you to buy the new one if you own this?
Yeah, so just taking a look at the micro player and also the names go with the product, right? This is their smaller one. It's only got a 2.75-inch screen, so less than 3 inches. It's made of plastic
Hmm.
and it does not have a high resolution display.
Okay, so the
Also,
display.
we have an opportunity for a light up marquee on the new one. So
Hmm.
all around, it's bringing you just like a better quality product, better features, better design. So, I mean, that's what I like about My Arcade. I'm not necessarily excited or like what they've done in the past. I like what they're about to bring us. And
Right.
they're really stepping up their game this year. And I think a lot of what they're doing and why they're stepping up their products like this is because they see an opportunity. Arcade One Up, which has long been the leader in home arcade, has since kind of slowed down, right? They're not bringing us anything new.
But
Well,
I do
My
like the
Arcade
price
sees it.
point.
I think they see an opportunity, and they can't just go all out and make a
Yeah.
3/4 scale cabinet. They got to
Right.
kind of step up a little bit at a time, and that's what they've done these last few years. And I see that coming. If these mega players, these super players are popular, they sell well. I
Yeah.
think their next step is going to be a 3/4 scale arcade.
Well, I see in the chat room, like Papa Brad saying with what they have custom wireless joysticks. Now that's cool too, because that's like what New Wave Toys does with these. But one thing I do like about this stuff is it's not overpriced. I think we could all agree, whether we would want one of these or not. I think we can all agree that they're reasonably priced. Looking at your one here, this has a 10.1-inch high resolution display. So I guess there is a compelling. I missed that when you first showed that. I don't know. Like, I am not a big, huge Atari fan. I play it from time to time, but it's not. I grew up probably like you did, the Nintendo era, right? That was nostalgic to me. The Nintendo, the Sega. When I was like 5 or 6, my dad had an Atari and Intellivision, but we quickly moved to the Nintendo when it came out. So I guess for guys like Glenn or somebody like, they're going to be all over this, and I'm not knocking it. I think options are always good, right?
Hmm.
Options are good.
Yeah, and you bring up Glenn, and I asked him about My Arcade on one of his shows about a week or two ago. Evidently, he like collects all of these. He's owned
Oh
all
yeah.
of them, and this is just going to be another part of his collection. Are these new ones? Me, I'm coming from a little different background. I've never bought a My Arcade except for a couple of prizes I've given away on giveaways on the channel.
Mhm.
But starting this year, at the end of 2024, when this Mega Player comes out, I'm definitely going to be buying one of these because the wood construction, a potential for a light up marquee, quality controls, good display. Now they're getting into what I like and what I enjoy. I'm not a big fan of the cheap plastic stuff they've done in the past. That's why I've never talked about them. So what they're doing now and what they've announced at CES is very intriguing for me. Um,
Let me ask you, a comment came up on my chat room over here.
mhm.
UAG says this should have come out for Christmas. Doesn't make sense for this product now. And do you think they missed the boat? Do you think they should have waited like they did for CES? Do you think they should have put it out over the holidays?
Well, that's the thing is I think they're still in the very early stages with this, and I want to show some video here. This
Yeah.
came from Gen X Grown Up from CES, and potentially we may be able to get Gen X Grown Up on the channel for an interview or a special guest.
Nice.
But this is his video here, guys, and give you kind of what it would look like in person. But these are very early stages, right? They don't have them on. They have them behind the glass. You can't play them. I don't even think they've done anything as far as the software side of things. I think they're just right now working out on the
Mhm.
hardware, the controls, the form factor. They still, I don't think they had a lit up marquee whenever they showed this off at CES, but that sounds like it may be in the plans. So there's still a lot of things they're trying to figure out. They also want to get our input, our feedback, so they can improve them before they're released. So I think this is going to be a holiday 2024 product,
Yeah.
not anything we could get early this year.
That's what I was wondering because I was under the impression that it was out already because I was the next thing because honestly I didn't pay much attention to this during CES because I know CES is a lot of vaporware, most cases, at least from the tech side of things. So did they mention any price point on this? Because this looks like it's going to run around like that 150 for the 10-inch, price point, kind of like a new wave toys, or it could be more because they got that 10-inch screen on it.
Yeah, so I've heard 250 and I've heard 200. So I think we're
Okay.
in that 200 to 250 price range for the mega player, the
So
one
like
we're
the
seeing here.
countergate prices.
The one to the left of it, the super player, I've heard 150 to 200.
Okay.
So we're in that price range,
Okay.
which is about what we're
Not
paying for
bad.
the Arcade One Up
Yeah.
countercades.
Yeah.
Except for this, I mean, it's offering us like way better controls than anything we've gotten on an Arcade One Up. Normally, the Arcade One Up countercade is just kind of like a visual piece or a something more so to look at than to play. This is actually going to be more for playing. It's going to have a keypad. It's going to have a paddle, a sizable joystick similar to like what we have on the Arcade One Up. It'll have a smaller track ball, which is light up for your
Mhm.
thumb. And then what I really find interesting on this are these buttons. We don't have anything like these buttons on an Arcade One Up or an AtGames or an
Jaguar buttons.
iArcade. Yeah, they're like those. What do you call
Uh-huh.
those? Like Joel type buttons or something?
Well, my Atari Jaguar controller has those very buttons, and you usually slide the plastic. If you remember, do you remember the Intellivision at all, where they had the paddles and you would slide the piece of plastic over it, and for each game, and it would show you what that function of the button is. Um, it's similar like that with the Atari Jaguar, and it almost looks like that's what they're doing there. Like I wonder if they're going to be putting some Atari Jaguar game. Now that would compel me to buy this.
Yeah, and that's what everyone's thinking or hoping for, or Jaguar games because
Dude,
it
that
has
would
the
be
keypad.
cool. That would be really cool.
And the only Atari games that had a keypad were the Jaguar.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Yep.
now it is Atari 50th. Don't want to get our hopes up too high on that, but you have to ask the question, why is the keypad there? You know, if we get Jaguar games, that's going to be huge.
Yeah. No, I think that would be because there's a lot of like I play my Jaguar. I have one of those mega carts that you can put, all the games on. So I have every game on it, and then I leave my originals on the shelf. But I play a lot of them like Rayman. Those would be great on this. I know it wasn't really an arcade game, but it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for. You know, there's so many different home arcade products you can buy, but I try to limit my newer purchases or what I'm going to be purchasing in the future to things that I don't already have or
Yeah.
controls that are offering me something new.
So
Which this is offering the keypad, it's offering a paddle,
yeah,
and
they're
it's
saying the 5200 had a number pad as well. See, the Intellivision has a number pad on it. That's what I'm familiar with. That was the earliest going back that I have. I have the 2600 and the Intellivision. I don't have the 5200. And ColecoVision, I believe ColecoVision had a number pad on it. So yeah, you're right. We could we could end up with like 5200 games on it.
and looking at that joystick, I mean, it almost looks exactly like what we have on the arcade one up. I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
if that's going to be identical or a little bit different, but it looks pretty similar to me.
I liked how they have X, Y, A, B inside of at least on the render, it looks like that, or it's inside the button. There's so many
Mhm.
times, like, if you purchased an arcade one up, they always have that sticker on there for, like, A button to let you know that this is the A button. Like, I wish they would have did a better job of doing that, and I think that's pretty cool because not necessarily for us, but for, like, kids. My kids and their friends, when they come over, they're like, "Which one's the A button?" You know?
Yeah,
So
it'll be easy. You know what
yeah,
it
I think
is.
that'll be really cool.
Yeah, so if we got these are the ones I'm most interested in. But I've seen a lot of people that are interested in this portable. Let's see here. Here it is. So it's basically going to probably have the same games, same controls, but in a portable one. And what's interesting about this, it's got a 10-inch screen. So
Right.
it's a pretty big screen. No, it's a 7-inch. I'm sorry. Let me bring up those details on it.
Oh, the handheld 7-inch.
Yeah, 7-inch, I
Yeah.
think. Let's see. Yeah, 7-inch high resolution display. So looking at this compared to a Switch, it's got even a bigger screen than a Nintendo Switch. And it looks like it's going to be pretty comfortable. It's got the keypad, it's got all the same buttons and controls as the
Mm.
countercade would have.
Yeah, I mean, for people that like handhelds, hey, you got now Atari in it, and I know people are gonna sit there and be like, "Well, I can emulate it on this, and I can emulate it on that, and I could." But you know what? There's guys out there that just collect handhelds, and they're gonna buy this and add it to their collection because it's a licensed product. So, there's tons of Atari fans out there. So I think it's gonna fit the niche.
Yeah, and they're offering a wide range. It's like they got all these Atari 50 products,
Mhm.
and they're all different, right? You've got the Game Station Remix, which is just kind of an improvement on their Game Station Pro, which released last year. And then they've got the countercades and the handheld. And I'm assuming all four of these products are going to have the same games.
Mhm.
So it's nice. You know, it's like I'm most interested in the countercade, but there's probably going to be a lot of people out there that are more interested in the handheld, and then some, you know, that may buy all three of them or all four of them. But yeah, for me, I'm looking at the countercade. As soon as this thing comes out, I'm probably going to get one. One thing about the arcade one up countercades that kind of made me not so interested in them was the controls weren't that great. Was I wouldn't consider them quality controls, where this is going to offer that premium quality control on a countercade.
Yeah.
Also, something else I like about this, and kind of comparing these to like a New Wave Toys, is these are going to have an HDMI out with the ability to plug in external controllers. So we can put it on the big screen. Hopefully, you know, maybe these controllers here are compatible with it, and we can, play it on the big screen.
I think they'd have to do that, honestly, because and I know we'll get to new wave toys later, but so I won't comment on that. But I think I'll leave it like this. They have to do that, right? That's
Hmm.
that's gonna be the guys like us. you're taller than me. You're a bigger dude than me. You got bigger hands. Like, I have a hard time playing. So I can't imagine you sitting there trying to play these little micro arcades. I just, and having a good experience. Let's put it that way. Not saying that it's a bad render or anything like that. It's just comfortability.
Right. Yeah. Until they get to the 3/4 scale,
Yes.
3/4 or larger arcades,
Right.
they're going to have the HDMI out. They're going to have the external controller support, which I'm happy to see that they're going to be offering.
That's awesome.
So hopefully this will get us through, holiday 2024 for home arcade stuff. And then next year, 2025, maybe my arcade's talking larger arcades, 3/4 scale or larger. And that's my hope for them. And that's why I'm most interested in them, is their future and what their future may hold. Not so much what they brought us in the past.
Always good competition. So got to get out there, because what it does then, it'll push companies like AtGames and Arcade One Up to step up. So we win as the consumer. So yeah, no, that'll be interesting to see what they put together and what licenses. That's the other thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we haven't even seen these turned on yet, so we don't know what the menu system looks like.
Exactly.
We don't know what games we're getting. All that's still left up in the air right now. We just know it's an Atari license, which there's a lot to choose from, right? So we could get all kinds of systems, games, potentially playing on this thing. What's also nice about these, they're doing rechargeable batteries now, where they've always used, AA's in the past. So they're stepping up that, internal battery in there as well. And then this is something else I wanted to get your opinion on, are these new pole positions. Now, this is still using that old plastic shell, which I'm not too happy about or too excited about. But they did get pole position, which I think is huge. Because Arcade One Up, I know John D had spoken about pole position in the past and how it was difficult to get that license, because they would have to go back and rework the game, take out advertisements like Marlboro and things like that to get it, licensed. So I was very surprised to see my arcade be able to attain a pole position license, and I'm very intrigued and interested to see how they're going to implement it and use it in this. Supposedly, it's going to use a real arcade pole position ROM. So we'll see what they do with it. What do you think about pole position in this?
I think it'll be pretty cool. I think it's gonna be hard to play. Now, I guess I'd have to see, I guess I have to see how they have it set up, because with actually how the game is gonna look. Because just think, you can see there the gas pedal, the brake. You're probably gonna use your 2 fingers and then use the steering wheel. But let's say you do manual. How are you gonna do that? You almost have to use like your pinky and your ring finger for gas, and then use your. That's gonna be like tough to do for guys with big hands. But I like the concept. But I'm kind of leaning the way you were saying earlier, like they do 3/4 scale, or make a home arcade, we'll call it, rather than 3/4 scale. I think that's a definite buy from the community. I think a lot of guys, and I love my racing cabinets. Those are like always played. So I would definitely be interested in potentially picking something up if the price was right for that. But at this scale, I would probably leave it in a track mode and let it just sit there as decor. That's honestly, I'd play it for a review, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about it. I don't think this is going to have HDMI out, so it probably wouldn't have much playtime, but it is cool and something different to see a pole position license, because we haven't gotten that on any, modern home arcade products, and we were hoping for that. Yep. And even though this isn't the scale or size that we were hoping for, it could potentially become that someday. So I'm hoping to see this thing be successful and do well. Now that you're talking about the way you would hold it, I feel like you would hold it with both hands. You would have to hold it up off of a table. You'd use your left thumb to steer it, your right thumb to do the high-low gear, the brake, and the gas.
Oh, so you're thinking like hold it like a controller.
Yeah, and that's what he kind of does in the video too.
Wow, that'd be tough.
He kind of holds it up.
Because let's say you wanted to do drifting and whatnot. Like if you're doing a manual, that's a lot. I don't know. Listen, if it works for some people, do it that way. But yeah, that's cool.
And this will be interesting to see how the license works out, what modifications and changes they had to make to the ROM to get it to come to the the retailer and be on the shelf. So because they can't have those cigarette ads. They can't have all that in there.
Oh, that's interesting. Wait, a Tran Fanatic says, what's funny is the OG pole position only had a gas pedal and no brake.
Let me bring up that chat here.
That's interesting.
Let's see. There's so many chats in here. I can't find it.
It's been a while since I played it in the original arcade, but I'll take his word for it. We didn't have, like, certain games just didn't show up in our area, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see. Now, you had said too, or I had said they've never done pole position before. They've done Atari before. So, like we saw here, right? They've done the plastic Atari. They may just be hoping or wanting to see pole position do well first and prove itself in this plastic form before they go to like the all wooden, cabinet design and like what they're doing with the Atari.
But you got to look at this though. Most people that are buying this, I think Kev Gretz said it in the chat room. He's like, nobody's buying this to play, and he's 100% right. Nobody's buying this to play. They're going to buy this as a shelf collectible. Of course, everybody just out of curiosity is going to sit there and try it for the first time, but nobody's going to play this thing. It's just a decor piece, a game room piece.
Sit on your shelf, something to look at.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and see if this does well, I think then we may see something like a mega player version of pole position, something like more so like this with a bigger steering wheel, bigger pedal, gas. But they got to prove that it's going to work and people are going to be wanting to buy this before they do all that.
100%. It seems like there's a big push right now for these 1/6 scale arcades, and I don't know if they're just trying to jump on the fact that guys are running out of room for the 3/4 and full size or what. I don't know. I just see a lot of that lately. A lot of emulation devices coming out. So it's going to be interesting to see who all buys this and if they feel that it's worthy to continue down this path. I think you're right with that.
Yeah, they start really small and then they will slowly step up their products. So they're going to start cheap plastic, make sure that proves itself, and then.
But by then, is it too late?
I don't think so. I mean, they've gone really slow since the very beginning. They've been in business, I think, 4 or 5 years now.
But I mean,
and they're just now getting to the point of these larger, more quality countercades.
But I'm saying, like, for the 3/4 scale, like, I feel like we're year 5 or year 6 in, and I feel like we've kind of hit that plateau where we're starting to come downhill, like coming off of it, where a lot of people are getting bored with it. What's the running joke these days? Everybody's turning to a pinball channels now, and everybody's buying real arcades. And hey, good on them if it makes them happy. Like, I'm not knocking anybody for that, but at the end of the day, these same guys were playing the 3/4 scale, and they're kind of over it. So my question is, are we coming down that slant? So any companies getting into this, like My Arcade, is it too little, too late?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think people are running out of room, obviously. I mean, as we buy these things, we're more limited on space. We're more selective on what we want to purchase. But I think the real money for the companies and the excitement for the customers are with the larger scale arcades. For me, at least, that's what brought back that nostalgic feeling for me. And what made me in the first place go out to get an arcade one up was the size of it, in that it made me feel like I had a real arcade in my home. And these countercades don't really do that. They don't give me that feeling. But I still like them because of the license and what they're doing with it. But as far as playability and like something I'm going to stand in front of and actually play a lot of, it's going to be the larger arcades, like what Arcade One Up has done and AtGames is doing.
And that's for me the reason. I know there's guys that really love Arcade One Up. There's guys that really hate Arcade One Up. There's guys that are pro multicade, and I'm with you. Like, I wanted to recreate a arcade experience when people came down here, friends, family, whatever, holidays, special times that they were visiting, because my family lives back east. I wanted them to come down and be like, wow, immediately transported back to the 80s when you walk through and you get that vibe from the arcades and say, man, I remember playing this, and remember, be taken back to, like, if the person's in their 50s and they're taken back to when they were 16 playing these games, on a date night or something. That's what I want. I think a lot of us forget that. That's why we're buying these machines and creating that I don't know about you, but I get like that when I play certain games. It's like immediately takes me back to my childhood. And, you know, I think it's awesome. Like, I'd still love to see a Marble Madness cabinet. It's one of my favorite all-time games. There was a lot of history with that with me. And I know people are like, yeah, Marble Madness, I would never buy that cabinet. Probably not. I'm probably the oddball, but I love that game. I love it.
Yeah, your arcade is special. You have like one of the largest arcades in the home arcade community. How many total individual arcades, if you counted them all, do you have in your basement there?
I want to say I have 28 arcades and then the 3 pinball. And then behind me, you can see over in the corner, actually, if I rotate my my camera here a little bit, you can see I actually have a real casino-cade back there, but it's not an arcade one up. You can see right there. It's a real Las Vegas arcade. So it's kind of cool, you know, having that back there. So yeah, I think I have like 28 in here. And
28.
yeah, and the only way I could fit more in here is if I got rid of some couches. And I could probably fit, if I got rid of my couches, I have 2 full-size couches. I could probably fit another 10 cabinets down here easily.
Yeah, so most of what you own is large, 3/4
Yeah.
scale or larger. How many countercades do you own?
I don't have any. In fact, I had 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Miss Pac-Man, I had a Galaga, and then I had a Mortal Kombat. And I gave the Galaga, I got them at like a fire sale. I think QVC had the Galaga one for like $40 or something like that. It was ridiculous. So I bought it, and then my buddy that was doing the production at Cleveland, you remember the guy that was over there doing the switching and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
His daughter's like 2 or 3 now. I think she's 3. I gave it to her because she's always, when they come over, you know, like she was always like liking the arcades because we have them at the church too. So I gave it to them, and she plays it. She has it in her little playroom, and then my daughter has the Miss Pac-Man up in her bedroom that she'll play, you know, from time to time with her friends. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have the desire for the countercades. That's just me.
Yeah. And I'm kind of in the same way. I mean, most of all what I own right now are the larger ones. It's just recently I've gotten into the countercades, mostly
Yeah.
because of New Wave Toys, the Ghost and the Goblins, the Coke machine. And then I got an arcade one up, Miss Pac-Man countercade. I'm excited about these new My Arcade countercades. And I think the reason is I'm running out of room. I'm limited on space. And so this is kind of giving me something to play, something to buy until I can sell something or something comes along that makes me want to replace an arcade I already have.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, because you're in an apartment, right?
I'm in an apartment.
You can only fit how many 3/4 scale if you packed it to where like I see you have a space behind you. You could probably put like 2 there. How many could you actually comfortably fit? And then you're like, okay, that's it. If I go anymore, I'm not going to be able to move.
So I've got right now 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 3/4 scale or larger arcades, including the UTEC from Mars Pinball. If I put them all real close together, smashed them together, I could probably do 10 total. But I would never do that. I like having a little bit of space between each of my arcades so I can see the artwork. Yeah. So probably would never do that. Probably I'm kind of maxed out where I'm at right now. I'm going to put Fast and the Furious right behind me. And then it'll be more so only bringing in new arcades when I sell one of these. There just won't be the room anymore.
Yeah.
So the countercades, I think, are going to become more and more intriguing for me as a customer because I don't have to go through the selling of something to buy that. And I think that's kind of the direction Arcade 1-Up's going to go this year. Is they're going to sell a lot of the smaller, less expensive stuff because they understand what they call their well, or their customer that buys all their products, they're out of room. So, you know, I see kind of a lot of not just My Arcade, but Arcade 1-Up selling a lot of the smaller stuff this year, unless something big comes. The only thing big that I see coming in 2024 is going to be the AtGames Legends 4KP Pinball. And that was the next subject I want to talk about, kind of transition away from My Arcade into AtGames. But I want to read Jason's super chat here. He said, $10. Good to see you back live, Steven. Congrats on the kiddo and Happy New Year. So yeah, definitely congratulations on the kid. That's a big, thing that's going on in your life. So definitely take your time away from YouTube and
Yeah.
be there for that, because that's a big important
Well,
time in your life.
before we go into pinball though, or AtGames pinball, I don't know if you told anybody, but I'm going to drop a bombshell on everybody here tonight.
Okay, yes. So
Can we? It
before
goes
you
with
came live, Steven told me in a chat he's got an exclusive announcement for this channel tonight. So if you're tuning in, you're going to hear something new. It's right here, Biggie D's Arcade. So let's hear it.
So going along with the kiddo, and this is why it hasn't started yet, but a lot of you have been screaming that you want something back. You've been saying to me, I've been getting emails, I've been in chats, but the OG is coming back. You thought it was dead. The Retro Buzz will be debuting after the baby. Give me a couple weeks. Doug, myself, and Glenn, we're back. The band is back together. We are going to do the Retro Buzz, and we're going to be back covering all things gaming. I was talking with them. This has been about 6 to 8 months in the works. So I was telling Biggie when he invited me on, I was like, okay, we'll give the crowd a hype. So the boys are back. We're going to get that thing set up. Doug made some new graphics and things, so we're getting everything lined up. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're thinking it's going to be a Wednesday night deal, because that's when Doug's best. I guess we got to figure out with my kid, things like that. But it's going to be a later night, probably like a 9 or 10 o'clocker, because kids and everything like that. So I think everybody's going to be pretty hyped about that, because they've been asking me, like, please bring back the Retro Buzz. And so
This will be Thursday nights.
Probably Wednesday nights.
Wednesday, okay.
Yeah, that was
9 or 10 Eastern.
I think something along that. And if something else is on that, you listen. There's a big thing going on in the community, like, don't stream during my time, and that nobody's trying to take anybody's time. If there's another show on that you watch, listen, that's the beauty of podcasts. We record it. You can go back and watch it the next day, or watch it. Like, I'm in Eastern time zone. Biggie, you're Mountain time,
I'm
right?
Mountain, yeah. Never change. Well, actually, Arizona time, it never changes.
Right. So you might be at work and you can't catch it live. Well, you watch it when you get home. Or if there's another show that you've been following, you want to watch that live, listen, watch it. Don't support the creators. Again, it's just about, people have been asking about it, and we wanted to bring it back, and we wanted to put our spin on things. The only thing I will say, I don't believe we are going to do like it's going to be a full home arcade show. It's not going to be anything like that. We want to cover games and do we want to get it back to having fun and games and stuff. And Glenn's
antics. Who's the panel? You said Glenn, Doug. So Glenn's retro show, for anyone who Doug is Cool Toy.
Yep.
And who else?
Myself.
Okay, just the three of you.
That's all it's ever been when we've done the Retro Buzz, and we've had guests come on. I mean, we'll have guests come on from time to time, like we've done in the past.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, like I said, we've been out of the seat for a couple of years. Whenever Retromania came out, I think that was kind of the end of, because they put us in Retromania as the Retro Buzz, and then I think we only did a couple more months of shows, and then after that, we kind of were like, yeah, we got to walk away from this. So it's been a couple of years. Mm-hmm. So we're not asking anybody to choose, and we're not going to be upset. Like, if we come on live, we got 10 live viewers, and we got 10 live viewers. But those people that want to see it, they're going to be happy. And then, like, if you don't get to see it live, watch it in reruns. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a great panel. I mean, you've got Glenn's Retro Show. You've got a lot of experience with him. But Cool Toy, it's been a while. It's been a couple of years since he's been on the show, and I love his content. I love his videos. So it's always good to hear him on a live stream and get to hear his perspective on things, because, we haven't gotten that in a long time. So I'm going to be really tuning in, looking forward to that show.
It'll be a lot of fun, and we can get different people on. I know Mote's jumped on in the past. He's been a co-host in the past. Bill, I mean, we can get all those guys to jump on yourself, just to have like a round table, as long as schedules, permit. But I think it's going to be something where we can, like, I want to get back, and we've all talked, I say all, the three of us, we talked about this. We said we want it to be fun and we want it to be about the games. That's if it's not fun, we don't want to do it. And that's
Yeah.
where I'm kind of at with this whole YouTube thing. Like, if I'm not having fun doing this content, that's why when you said, "Hey, let's have some fun, let's talk about these subjects," I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down." If it turns into something crazy, I'm out.
Hmm.
I'm just not going to do it anymore. So, um, yeah. So I figured that would be kind of cool. And
Hmm. Yeah, that's a big announcement. That's awesome. Yeah, that's one thing I wish we had more of, were more live shows where it like filled up the whole week. Because I'm one of those that, like, I am a content creator. I have a channel, but I watch all the live streams too. I'm like a
yeah,
viewer just like everybody else. I watch more YouTube than I watch TV. So if you guys are, got a schedule and we got a show every night of the week, that's awesome. I mean, that just
I think that would be
brings
cool.
more entertainment for everybody. So,
Yeah,
and you got a great panel. That's fantastic.
and that's part of the things. When I stepped back, I stopped watching a lot of content from this space back in November. That's why I'm a little like the 4K Legends Pinball. I know we're going to
Hmm.
get into that here. Um, I've kind of been following that, but also I don't know about you, but I didn't pull the trigger on it. I
Yeah,
didn't
I
buy it.
haven't yet. I'm very close.
Well, I'm not going to, because I know how things with AtGames works. If you wait a couple months, the baseline one, which I think is the Addams Family one, that one will be probably at your Sam's Club, and it will probably be a fraction of the price because you won't have the shipping.
Well,
So
let's
I'm
get into At Games here, but I got a couple of super chat videos I made
yeah, throw
today
them up, man.
that I want to run here, and we got a couple of super chats, so it's perfect. So, Jason, this one's for you. You remember the panda from Tekken?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like just
Is
trying
that
to come up with ideas today. I was like, that's
is that
perfect.
the new thing? I've seen a lot of shows now. Every time somebody super chats, they throw a video. Is that requested by? I've never done that, so that's why I'm asking. I'm not
I've
dogging
seen it a
anybody.
lot
I'm
on
just curious.
shows. I see K Fox do it, and it works really well for him, and I enjoy it. Like if it's an
Yeah.
entertaining super chat video,
Well,
then I like it.
I see a lot of gamers do that, like when they're playing live. They're like, "Oh, the new hype train," and then they'll play like a little clip.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, is that like a new fad with the live broad? Not that it's bad. I'm just asking. And
I really don't know if it's a fad. I see some channels do it. I've seen others do it and take it away. Like Michael B used to do the pinball money. He doesn't do that
oh, okay,
anymore. So it's
okay,
like it can work for you or against you, depending on what your audience is feeling.
okay.
If you have a bunch of people saying quit doing those super chat videos, probably
Nah,
shouldn't be doing them. But if people are enjoying them, do it.
it's all
We've
about
also
having
got
fun.
one more super chat here from Zohar. He says, Biggie, I love you, man. Thanks for not being so sensitive. This is why you're great and you have fun. Question: is my arcade building the Death Star too? Question mark. So yeah, appreciate the $5, Zohar. And yeah, I have thick skin. I never take anything too seriously on YouTube. I know everyone's, making videos and stuff, sometimes having fun at the other people's expense. You guys can do that with me. I'm not going to take it too hard or too, I'm not going to take it too seriously. So, how do you feel? Do you take any of that stuff too seriously?
I used to take it seriously. I really did. I because I guess because everything I do is remote. So like
Hmm.
the online people are my friends and stuff like that. But let me just tell you guys something. I'll be completely, because Biggie knows I'm honest. I'm brutally honest. In the beginning, I wasn't too sure about Biggie. Like when he first came on the scene, I was just like, "What's this guy doing, man?" Let me tell you something. When he came out to Cleveland, I earned I gained a lot of respect for him and some of these other creators, because you start to think like, are they the same way in person that they are, in real life, or like they are on the internet? And this dude is genuine as they come. Like he is so chill. Like we had a ball at Cleveland. Like honest to God, like it was a lot of fun. He came in. In fact, you gave me a break that one time. You sat down at the booth so I could get up and rest like that was totally cool. It was like everybody just kind of came together, and I wish it was like that online. I really do. But it seems like there's that disconnect. But there in person, man, we all just like rocked it there. It was like unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I had a really good time there, and everyone was so nice and like friendly. No one like
Mhm.
had any beef with each other. Even if we did
No.
online, it's like we wouldn't let that come between us and us getting together. And that's the way it should be. You know, we should all, even if we have differences online, treat each other with respect in person.
That's it.
And you know, for everyone else's sake, you know, we're all a community. We're all here together, and sometimes we have to like give in or maybe not retaliate just to make it better for everyone else. It's
Yeah.
and just go with the flow and not. Best advice I can give people is just don't take anything too seriously. And we're also, when we put ourselves online, we are opening ourselves up to criticism and potentially people using stuff as fair use for other purposes. So you just have to know that going into it.
Yeah.
And that's how I've been since I started a year and a half ago. And I know you've been doing it a lot longer than me. So you've been through a lot of this stuff.
You definitely have to have tough skin, and I think I've had my run-ins with people. Everybody has an ego, everybody has like something, but I think the biggest thing that you can do, and I'm saying this right now to people that may be listening that have a problem with me even still to this day. Guys, life's too short. Like just move on. Like patch things up, do whatever you got to do. It's a lot better. Life is a lot better. I was telling Biggie before because he was like, "Oh, he's like growing the beard out, the hair, and then getting gray in the beard." I'm like, I'm gonna be 45 this year, and one of the biggest things I loved about this community was we loved criticizing these companies to make better products, not to criticize the companies to hate on them, but to give us what we want from our childhood.
Hmm.
And instead it's turned into this creator versus that creator. And I don't want to do that. What we're doing now, we're having a ball, man. This is
Yeah.
what it's about. Let's get into this pinball. Let's talk about how AtGames dropped the pinball. Can we do
Yeah. Let's get into it. So
do
we got
that?
one quick more super chat video for Zohar, and
Yeah,
then we're
do it.
getting into ad games. Have you seen that one before?
No, I've never seen that one, but that was pretty good too.
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna come up with some more of these. These are great. All right, so let's get into some at games. So I'm gonna pull up their website here first. So this is the At Games Legends 4KP Addams Family. This is the one that's actually shipped this week. So people are going to be receiving them as soon as Saturday. So this week, people are going to be getting theirs, and we've already said it. We haven't pre-ordered. I'm very close to pre-ordering. I'm like right there. I don't really have 1,500 to just blow on just anything. It's got to be like that one skin or that one look that just puts me over the edge to make me
Hold
spend that
off.
much money.
Hold off.
Still hoping for like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
Those any one of those three, I think I'll do it. Even the Attack from Mars I was very close on. But where are you at on this Addams
So
Family or
so
at
I
Games
like it.
4KP?
I like the 4KP. I like the fact that they partner with Zen. That was kind of like, maybe I should look at this. As you can see, I have the original AtGames Legends pinball.
Mm-hmm.
My advice to people, as somebody that owns the original pinball, P Dubs and I were the first two to get it before, like months before people got it. And people are already out there going, "Oh, it's not fair. Wagner got it." And all this. Listen, I'm telling you, as somebody that has this, you should wait. Be happy you're not one of the first 3 monthers to get it. Seriously, because for the first month and a half with the original Legends pinball, the left flipper worked every other time. There was no firmware fix for at least a month and a half. And P Dubs and I were mad. Like we sat there, we're like, this is ridiculous. People are gonna freak over this thing. Now you got a $1,500 pinball. AtGames made the mistake. They should have put out a list and said, we're going to drop Addams Family for those that need to have it right away. This is going to be first, but in a few weeks we're going to drop the Snoopy, and we're going to drop this. So the pre-order people could sit there and go, well, I really want the Star Trek, or I really want Snoopy, but now you're locked in the Addams Family because you thought that was the only title that was going to come in the first year, and now you're kicking yourself. And I understand it's just a label. I get that. But when you factor in the cost of the pinball, some of these guys can't just say, okay, I don't want the Addams Family now. I want that. And as AtGames does, they hype it up like Arcade 1-Up has done. But then we find out 5, 6. Glenn will tell you even a couple months later, and it's in Sam's Club at a fraction of the price. Like the ALP was down to like $250 at some Sam's Clubs where you could get the original for that.
And I remember that.
And it was like $800 normal. So I'm telling everybody, just because I've learned how AtGames works, and you can believe me or not believe me, hold out. Because I would like to get this one too, but I'm not buying it at that price, and I'm not paying that shipping, and I'm gonna wait and see what comes out.
I'm right there with you. My channel is always about deals and saving money.
Yes.
I just feel like this product is so in demand. It's going to be a long time. And will this product ever hit retail? Will it ever be at a Sam's or would it ever be at Costco? I don't know. I'm feeling the FOMO. Justin had this whole long stream today about the FOMO. Like I'm really feeling it on this product. It's like, I just don't know how much longer I can hold out. I feel like the next announcement at $11.99, that introduction price of $1,200, I just won't be able to pass it up. And it may be good that I waited, as long as I did, because that next release might be Star Wars or it might be Indiana Jones.
Well, Dubs will tell you, as I could tell you, I probably have the only ALP right now in existence that doesn't use HDMI inside of the backboard. It just uses LVDS. And they switched it over to it because Dubs, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's in the chat room, but I think he broke 2 or 3 of his back boxes because the LVDS cable was so flimsy that they made it so it's LVDS, and then I think there's an HDMI in it. Mine's not. Mine's all LVDS, and it's like I am afraid because of Cool Toy, his broke, Dubs is broke, that I'm scared to even disconnect it because that's how brittle it is. So again, that's the other reason I would say I'd wait, because early adopters are going to find these problems, Biggie.
Yeah.
And AtGames is going to change it, and the hardware is going to get changed throughout its first year. I'm telling you that's going to happen.
So your advice is wait at least 1 year.
Oh, 100%. I won't buy it myself in the first year. No. And P-Dubs even said the packs don't even work on the machine yet. I forget. You had it pulled up a little bit ago. I forget what he said. I'm paraphrasing here, but certain
let me
things
see if I can
just
find
aren't
it.
Certain things just aren't working on it yet. And this is how it was with the original Legends pinball. These guys saw the streams him and I did. Like, and I'm not saying to hate on AtGames. I'm just saying, like, they were the stuff was rushed. I think Wagner said his was manufactured on December 27th of 2023. Like, it was stamped. So that means he got it already. Yeah, there you go. He says, yeah, mine broker it. Multiple times.
And what's funny, guys out there that haven't been watching P-Dubs or Steven Tech Buzz for a long time, they used to have a show called Legend Center. It was the two of you guys, and you were sponsored, or it was paid for by AtGames, wasn't it?
Yes. So we worked into the deal that we would get some of the newer products that they were doing to review them, and the pinball was one of them. We wanted it first because we had to talk about it on the show, and some consumers were mad at us because we got them first, but it was part of our deal, so we didn't get any money. But everybody should be glad that we did, because they were unplayable. Dubs, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I for the first 3 months, it was pretty much unplayable. I'm just being honest. It was unplayable. The ball was so slow. The flipper didn't work. Not the solenoids, because there's no solenoids in the first one. The accelerometer didn't work right. So like if you nudge the table, it would tilt it. It was just awful. It was an awful experience from day one.
Yeah. And see, I've only owned the AtGames ALU, the Legend Ultimate, which is the arcade. And I bought that just about a year ago. So it'd been out for like 4 years by the time I purchased it. But I've had no issues with the AtGames Legends Ultimate.
No, the Ultimate, when that first came out, there was a bunch of us doing firmware tests. We were putting out the videos. They would feed us the firmware. We would do the videos to show the community how to do it. And if it was a bigger firmware, what we would do is like, we'd talk to Glenn, we'd talk to Cool Toy, we'd talk to Dubs, and we'd say, okay, what part of the video do you want to do? And we'd all put it together and link each other to, out there just to get it out to help the community. They put more attention into that. The pinball, it was kind of like slow going, in my opinion.
Yeah. So these images we're looking at here, these are the high res images that they posted on their Facebook this week. And I feel like, the renders just didn't do this table justice. When you're seeing it in this picture, it's just, they look amazing. The artwork looks amazing. Have you seen these images yet?
I've actually watched Wagner's first part video. I think I watched it last night, and it did look pretty good. I like the different brightness that they have now for the topper. Like I saw Wagner's original topper that they came up with, and then the one he has now. But and I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but can I ask this question to the community and ask it to you too? Why would you put working coin mech and not have it work as a coin?
Oh yeah, like you're talking about actually make it coin
Like
up.
coin up, like you put the coin in it and it coins up in the game. Why would you make? Who's gonna play with that? As even New Wave Toys did that with their stuff. You put it in and it coins up. Why would you make this to put a coin in it and it does nothing?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It would have been nice for them to do that. It just would have raised the cost. The price would have been that much higher. They're trying to cut costs wherever they can to keep this within that $1,000, and they couldn't even get it at 1,000. It still ended up being 1,500. So I just feel like they had to cut costs somewhere, and that was one easy way.
But I'm saying like it to trigger on a digital pinball machine isn't going to cost them much more.
Yeah,
like you could do that with other systems. I know guys have done it with 1-ups. Right there. So somebody in Toxin said they could have easily put a little micro switch in there. 100%.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm just happy that they included a coin door that you could put a coin in. I thought the coin op function would be nice, but I never thought of it as they should have done that. I felt like I was happy that I got
a premium
what
device.
I got.
It's a premium device for $1,500. I expect that. I really do. If you're going to go through the trouble of putting a coin door in there with a working coin slot, I expect it to work as a coin button. They didn't even make it so you could press the 25-cent insert coin to play like we can do with modded 1-ups and stuff. They didn't even, and that doesn't take a lot of work. I mean, I would personally mod it to do that. That's me. I'm sure a lot of these other guys would do that, but I just think that's sloppy. I'm just being really honest. I think it's sloppy.
Yeah, so the coin door, I'm happy that they put one on there. I'm happy that you can put a coin in. I like the light up button. Yes, the coin op would have been nice, but it's not like a make or break for me. But I think that's something that they will bring, probably in the future if this takes off.
I agree with you. I don't think it's a make or break. I stand there scratching my head. It's kind of like, I guess I've been around AtGames long enough to go, they do everything halfway. They don't go the full distance, right? Like, why do we need like the ALP or Legends Ultimate 4K Pinball plastered right there on the control surface like we have it on right there? The Legends Pinball. Why do you need that there? Everybody complained about it with the first iteration of it. Why do you have it plastered there?
Yeah, the way they explained it is they have to have it somewhere. They
have it right there.
Oh, on the builder plate?
Yeah, they have it on the builder plate. They have a little one on the back box, I thought, unless I missed it.
The only other place is going to be right here, right where the D-pad is. But when you put the control panel in, that's going to be gone.
Yeah, I don't put the control panel in. That thing's garbage.
Oh, are you talking about the control panel?
The joystick and stuff. I gave
this
mine
here?
Moat. Yeah, that's garbage.
Really? I heard it was a must-buy.
No, it rattles something like you wouldn't believe. Like it rattled, at least the one that I had here it rattled this, the accelerometer, the thing in there that buzzes for the feedback, the haptic feedback. It just buzzed like plastic. It was awful. And I'm like, nah, I'm taking it out. And so Moat was asking if I wasn't going to use it, could I send it? So I sent it to Moat.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that.
JJ, he's saying off topic a little bit. He liked my Arcade 92 video. Are you coming back to Dallas for the pinball convention in Frisco? I'm not quite sure if I'm going to make it back to Frisco for the pinball convention. That's in March. And I've actually got family coming to visit me here in Arizona that week. So I'm going to be going to like Sedona and doing hiking around here. But I really hoped I could make that pinball. It's called the one in Frisco is called the Texas Pinball Festival, and that was one that I was hoping to make, but I probably won't get to. What about you? Are you going to make pinball Texas Pinball Festival?
Probably not. There's 4 conventions I'm going to this year, the more local ones in Ohio and Pennsylvania. So as of right now, I think there's 4 of them I'm going to. It's going to be tough, especially with the baby the first year.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of I'm getting some pushback here in the chat room about what it's not garbage for that thing. My thing is I want to play pinball on the machine. I don't play any of the arcades on it. So for those people that like to play arcades, listen, buy it. You know, you want to play arcades on a pinball machine, go for it. But I bought it to play pinball, and that's what I wanted. But maybe it was one I got, Biggie, but the plastic covering that goes over the mechanism on the back, I took it off because it was just rattling so bad. They had it on with like 4 screws on the back, and it would just rattle like every time it would bounce off the bumpers, it would go like you would hear it like that. And it just was bad compared to the original.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I got a bad one. Maybe I don't know, but Moat, maybe he liked it.
Yeah, everything I've heard, it's like a must buy. That the D-pad that the pinball comes with is like unusable almost. It makes it really difficult to navigate the menu. Do you have that trouble with the stock D-pad?
I don't. But I'm not playing games with it. I'm just navigating. I really haven't had any issues with it. But there again, I'm not going to say somebody else's problem when they're like, oh, I have trouble navigating it. Again, I have one of the first ones. Maybe they did it right on mine. And then everyone like afterwards, it was terrible. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of having a joystick on a pinball machine. That's the other side of it. Like I actually thought about pulling the joystick and making a rocker, like a rocker thing. But yeah, no, I mean, to each their own. My opinion is I hate this. I hate the thing. I would never buy it again. They could offer to send it to me. I still wouldn't take it. That's just me. I'm not knocking anybody that likes theirs, and that's great. But maybe
so you got the price of the pinball, which is pretty high at $1,500 is MSRP. But what I'm hearing is the control panels like a must buy, and then also the SSF kit. Have you heard about this? It's a speaker system, 7.1, I believe, subwoofer. It just gives you that feedback, the sound feedback. And I'm hearing like that's a must. I watch who is it? Evil Genius. And he's huge into these virtual pinball machines. And he's just so convincing when he says like you have to get the SSF kit. It's like another $300-$400 on top.
Okay. Yeah, and P-Dub says, yeah, the original control panel sounded like a wet fart, but it's much better now. So maybe I got it at the very, very, very beginning when they first brought it out. So maybe I need to, I don't want to buy it again. Maybe there's something to it. So, but again, that was my experience. But yeah, a subwoofer must have. A lot of guys that were doing mods and putting bass shakers in the cabinets and stuff, from the videos that I saw, it sounded awesome. And I think there's a reason real pinball machines have like a bass shaker inside of it, because it makes it right. It makes the game. So I personally would get it with that if I was going to do it, but I'd probably install it myself. Like I have a bass shaker in my Arcade 1-Up Ridge Racer cabinet. So it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. All the modding that we do, like I put in Glenn's control panel in my iArcade. I don't think putting the SSF kit would be difficult for someone. You know, they're going to walk you through step by step how to install it. But it is nice they can install it at the factory for you. And I think it's only an extra $50 or was an extra 50 to add that and have them install it. So the good thing about getting it installed at the factory is if you mess something up, it's on you. Or if they mess something up installing it, they're going to replace it. So that's the only, I guess, benefit. But if you're somewhat technical, you know how to put in, some of the mods we do on some of our other stuff. I don't think you'll have any issues with this SSF kit. Ezekiel, Chicago, the Retro Ranger, he just sent over $9.99. He says, "What's up, fellas? I agree. Let's just have fun. No drama, no BS, just games and fun." And that's how me and Steven feel. And that's what we discussed
Amen.
tonight early on is just let's have fun. That's what we're here for. We got enough worries and problems in our everyday life. We don't want to come here and have it
Nope.
here as well. So appreciate the $10, Ezekiel. I also got, I didn't know if you were here earlier. I got a couple new super chat videos. I'm going to run this one. I really like this one.
That was cool.
Yeah, I like that one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go and try to find any video game I can where they're dancing and just make my super chat videos those.
Get some Fortnite emotes.
Yeah, like 19K Fox, he does all like the finishing moves of like fighting games and stuff like that. Mine's going to be dancing. All right. So appreciate the $10, Ezekiel.
But do you agree? Because we kind of talked a little bit about, do you agree that AtGames should have put out a list of these are what's going to come the first year? You know, if it's not particularly a skin that you want, wait a little bit because it's going to come out.
Yes, I think that would have been probably the better way to go with this is to let everyone know, what's coming out. If you're going to be doing this like where you're just trickling down like your announcements one at a time like this, it can come back to bite you. You got these hardcore customers, the ones that are giving you money up front early on, and then they're not getting the choice of everyone else. I just don't think that's doing anyone any justice. I think you're better off allowing people early on a choice of what they want. Now their hands could have been tied on this, as licensing comes in and as they gain these new licenses, they may just announce them as they get them. Like for instance, the Attack from Mars. I don't know if they had that license when they announced the Addams Family. I think they have to do these individually because there's Zen's got the tables, but there's obviously other people involved as well.
I don't know if I 100% buy that, only because if Zen has the licenses for the games that they're running, okay, when you don't go into an agreement with a company like Zen for one license, there's a negotiation. It has to, because it's not beneficial for either party. So I'm not buying that. And they could say that. I like your thought pattern with that. AtGames is a big business, and so is Zen. They're not going to go in for nickels and dimes. They're going for dollars, dollars and cents, so to speak. They had this list ready. They're trying to blow out the doors to show these and the pattern. Like, hey, this is how many Addams Family were bought. This is how many Snoopy. So they could go to these retailers and try to get them in the retailers to sell them, just like Arcade 1-Up does.
Yeah, so it was first Addams Family, then they announced the Snoopy. It was like a couple weeks later. This is the collector's edition, so it offered something a little bit different, I guess, in that it's a CEP, meaning they're not going to go back and make more.
Right.
Like once the first run, I guess 5,000 of these they make, they're not going to make any more after that. And then they came out with the Star Trek. This one was really interesting for me because I'm a sci-fi fan. Really want Star Wars, but Star Trek is cool. My only complaint on this one is the artwork. I wish they would have gone with like Next Generation, or even gone with like Discovery, or what's the other one that's the Outer Worlds or something like that, their new TV show. I wish they would have just gone with something different. I feel like these J.J. Abrams movies were probably some of the least liked Star Treks that were ever made. So I thought that was an interesting choice. And then finally Attack from Mars. And the most buzz I think has been behind the Attack from Mars because it's got true authentic artwork, recreating that original look of the original Attack from Mars pinball. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like if you pre-order the Addams Family, you got all these other choices now. you got to, I guess, go back and have them refund you your deposit and then reorder. Is that how it works? Do you know?
Yeah, I think that's what you have to cancel your order and it moves you to the back of the line. But here's the thing I still haven't had clarity on is I saw where the $200 is non-refundable. Like you can't say if you pre-ordered, say, Addams Family and it didn't ship yet, you didn't get the email, you can't say, okay, take my pre-order and put it on Attack from Mars. Now maybe they changed it since the delays happened with the shipping, but from my understanding in the original, and that might have changed, you weren't getting your $200 back. Maybe people raised a big enough stink that now they're giving your $200 back. But I think you should have been able to move it to whatever, especially when they released it. What was it, like a few weeks
So
apart from each other?
September, the week that we were in Cleveland, was the week that the Addams Family went on pre-order
Right,
for
right.
$1,099. So we had all of October, November, and then I think right at the end of the year, Attack from Mars. So there were several months that passed.
But they had the other ones coming out in between that, right?
Yeah,
They had
hmm
Snoopy. It was like it was
yeah.
almost like
It
they
was
were
like
doing a
each month
3 week.
there was a
Yeah.
new release. Yeah.
So I don't think that was fair to people that wanted this. Now, guys that were buying it because they want to get first and reviewed and videos and stuff, they don't care what skins on it. And I'll be quite honest, it didn't really bother me either. Like I would have taken whatever because it's just a skin. If I want to change it down the road, I will. But there's some diehards, they don't want to do that. They want the skin that they want. Like I would love to see a Back to the Future Jaws skin, honestly. If they did something like that. Now I know Stern has that Jaws locked kind of, but with the Universal, I would have thought Zen had something with that. But I would like to see that, or I don't know. I think some of those for me would be more appealing.
hmm Yep. For me, the most appealing so far has been this Attack from Mars. Still
Yeah.
hasn't been enough for me to pull out my credit card and go in debt, but there'll be one coming. I'm very close. Zohar super chat 4.99. He says, "Biggie, I was really serious though. If my arcade becomes popular, will you cover it? It seems like bargain bin stuff. Just my opinion." And I agree with Zohar on that. It
I
is
agree.
bargain bin, inexpensive, cheap plastic toys. You know,
Yep.
that's why I've never purchased a My Arcade. The only My Arcades I've actually bought with my own money have been prizes that I've given away on this channel. But this year will be mark the first time My Arcade has brought out something interesting or cool enough for me to spend my money on. So that's why I'm starting to talk about it. Is I talk about things I'm personally wanting to buy
Mhm.
myself, or I think that you guys out there may be interested in getting. So that's why My Arcade's starting and become the topic of discussion. But we'll see if they can deliver. I mean, all we see are these cabinets behind the glass. No one's played it, so there's still a lot to be proven as far as are they going to be worth the money or are they going to be worth talking about. But appreciate the $5, Zohar. Let's run one more super chat video. Chaotic just said we're playing Mario Kart in Discord. Coming by to say hello, everyone. I love Chaotic. He's talking about Cleveland. He was one of the nicest guys I met
Oh yeah.
there. Really great person. He's got his own live stream he's doing now, and
I'll
good
never
to see you
forget
in
when
the
I told
chat.
them to come sit down and get on the panel with me. He just kind of looked at me like really? Like, yeah, come on, sit down, man. You know, and
Yeah,
then he was like, well, you don't have to tell me twice. You know, like that. Yeah, he was a good dude, man.
yeah, he was very nice. He gave me a ride home one night, real late at night. He was like escorting everybody around town.
He
He's an
drove what,
awesome guy.
13 hours or something, some ridiculous amount. Like,
Yeah, he drove
good
from
dude. Like,
Georgia all the way to
oh
Cleveland.
man, jeez.
I'm hoping to get down to Southern Fried Gaming this year. I
Oh
know a
yeah.
lot of people are talking about the Midwest Gaming in Milwaukee, but I wanting to go to the Southern Fried Gaming down in Atlanta. That's going to be around, I think, July.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna do the Midwest gaming. It's about 9 hours from me. I was in talks with them, asking them about they wanted me to do like I did in Cleveland, set up that. And they're just like, "Oh, we don't have the money." And I was like, "Well, the way I do it, you set me up in a hotel room, hook me up with badges and stuff like that, and then we do it." And they were like, "Well, we don't really have the funds for that." So I just took it as they weren't interested in it, and I was like, "Well, I'll just do it for. I'm not doing it for nothing. I bring a lot of equipment, so
Yeah, you brought so much equipment. That was insane. The
we had a
setup
TV
you had
studio there,
there.
man. Yeah,
I felt bad for you, all the work you had to do to, put all that up and break it all down.
it was about 8 to 10 hours set up, and it was probably we tore it down about 3 hours. I think we had it maybe less than 3 hours. We had it tore down.
So to kind of wrap up our At Games 4K talk,
Yeah.
I wanted to show this Wagner's video. There's been a lot of concern about the quality of the graphics, the sharpness, the colors, looking like it's way brighter than what we experience on the PC. What are your thoughts on that? And have you heard any of that?
I've heard people complain about it, but and this is what I'm gonna say. Any render that you see like this, like you're showing,
Mm-hmm.
is not gonna be true because unless you're capturing it with a capture card, you're not getting the true video. It's like somebody going to an arcade and taking your cell phone, and depending on how if you have a flip phone and you're recording it, it's gonna look crappy compared to like say a new Android or a new iPhone. I don't ever go off of this stuff. Like I want to see it in person. Um, from when he did some close-ups and he was zooming his camera over, it looked pretty sharp. I'm just gonna say that now. Is it to everybody's expectation level? Everybody's expectation level is different. I would be looking at that text. I would want to see is the text clear in the bottom corner, the instructions. It
Mm-hmm.
is not clear on the Legends Pinball, the first generation one.
Mm-hmm.
Granted that falls under the licensors of the games to do that, but to me that would determine how clear it is.
So those
Um,
little labels down there at the bottom where the
right.
plunger is going to be and the pinball the flipper buttons,
Yep.
that text, if you can read that, then you're in pretty good shape as far as
Yeah.
the quality.
Yeah, I mean, already it looks a lot better than the arcade one up. I still have fun, and people are gonna probably crucify me for this, but I still have fun on the arcade one up pinballs. Well, is it the best? No, the Legends blows it away. But is it fun? Yeah, I mean, we play it all the time, and family when they come over, they run to the pinball. So to each their own with it. But I don't know this render. It looks very cartoony.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're talking about. But
It's There's a couple of things I wanted to bring up. One, it's really hard to compare a PC gaming PC version of Zen Pinball
yes,
to a Zen Pinball that's been optimized for a single board chipset. It's two totally different things. So the fact that they're able to even get this game to run on that chipset, that single board,
hmm
is amazing, and that it's running at 60 frames per second in 4K. That's a
hmm
huge accomplishment. Definitely going to have to sacrifice some in order to get those speeds and that on that board. So I think they've done a lot, and I obviously think too over time it'll improve. There'll be updates. They'll polish this even more, optimize it even more over time. This is what we're seeing. For the pre-order people that are receiving theirs next week. This is what it would look like. And then you had brought up the cameras. The camera could be, obviously making it look worse than what it would look like in person.
yes,
So I think, it's not so fair to compare the two. Um, and then another thing about it is, and I see why it's important to people, is that it does play well on the single board, is because a lot of people don't want to go through the trouble of hooking their PC up, getting the setup for OTG. It takes time to set all that up and to break it back down each time you want to play. And maybe you use that gaming PC for other uses as
hmm
well. You don't always want to take your PC away from what you're doing to hook it up to your AtGames. I think a lot of the real good experience I've had on my home arcades are the ones where I can just turn it on and instantly start playing. I don't have to
yeah.
do any setup. I don't have to go, through any trouble to get into playing. And so I see it as it is important that it looks and plays well. But I don't think we should be expecting it to be as good as our PC. And I'm just happy that they were able to achieve getting it to play on this board.
What I pay attention to a lot, especially in this video that you're playing, is I'm watching the lights flash. As a video guy, I watch the ball movement. I want to see that there's fluidity with that, because if some of the tables on the first Legends pinball, sometimes you'll see some staggering. The ball goes up and it slows down and it goes, and they fixed a lot of that, but there is still some of that. I'm watching this ball and it looks like, and it's moving like it does on the 720p 60 arcade one up. That ball moves faster on a lot of the tables than the Legends pinball. The Legends pinball looks better. So for me, that if that ball's moving fluid and there's no delay between the flippers and when you're hitting the ball and flashing the lights and the bumpers, because timing's everything in pinball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's on, you're not really, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for AtGames here if the play field isn't, or Zen, but honestly, to play this game, if it looks clear, I mean, and the ball's moving, the bumpers are moving, and the lights are flashing correctly, it's a home run for them. It's the best consumer grade pinball on the market, right?
Yeah, and the Pinball Expo was in Chicago, and I don't know if you remember how bad it looked. I mean, it was like almost unplayable. Cool Toy, your new person on your panel, he was very critical of how bad it was. So to see how much progress they've made from the Pinball Expo to January 2024 is really good to see, and it's just going to improve from there. So I think this is fine the where they're at. Not expecting much more, because it is that single board, and and I like Andy's comment here. He says, buy a cheap mini PC and stick it in there. I think a lot of people are going to end up doing that. They're going to, because the graphics are going to be noticeably different on a PC with a graphics card. It's just, that's the hardware that you're playing it on. I mean, it's going to be better.
But for most people, here's the thing, and this is why I've never put a PC in it. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because AtGames menu system is a bit confusing for average people that aren't in the menu system all the time. Like for guys, like you have a Legends Ultimate, you're used to it. You have a Legends Pinball, you're used to it. But I even have people saying like, okay, how do I get back out of this game? Or how do I get into the game? Or how do I navigate? I think if you put a PC in it, sometimes depending on the front end that you put in, it might be easier for people to navigate on it. And I haven't put a PC in it because if I'm going to put a PC in it, I want to put a workhorse in it. And I would rather just have that for my desktop. So for some guys, they're going to have to do that because people need that better front end to play it.
Now that is something that they have improved, is the menu system. It's got this revamped menu now. You can kind of see it here for a second. But it does look better. I pulled this from my video this week that I'd done. Initial impressions. A lot of people got upset with me for doing a video called Initial Impressions, and I didn't own the product. But my channel's always been like that. I'm always talking about the new stuff, and I've never owned it. For most part. So it's always interesting to see those comments.
So do we look?
But talking about the menu, we've got this new menu. Here it is. It's kind of like a wheel that you slide through rather than having, the static images.
Oh, nice.
You'll see it here for just a second. And I pulled this also from Wagner's Tech Talk as well, guys.
Okay, there you got BYOG. And I've asked them before about giving us the ability to go into the menu in the settings to remove certain things we want, like BYOG, and not have it in the menu to confuse people that come over to play the games. Like I want to be able to hide the arcade games because I don't play arcade games on mine. So I've been screaming to AtGames for that for years, and they still haven't done it. And I think that's something that they're missing in both of these, especially with the new pinball. They need to make it. If you're buying it, Biggie, just to play pinball, you don't care if it has BYOG. You don't care if it has arcade games. You want to hide that, right? You're not buying them. You're not putting it on it. Just give me the ability to hide it.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to all this stuff. It's going to be exciting. Next week, I know you and Papa Brad have had some differences in the past, but I'm going to give him a shout out. He's got his coming next week. Also, Team McCloskey, Arcade Talk and Star Wars reviews. He'll have his as well. They should be getting tracking any day. So those will be the channels I'll be following to, see what this thing's really about. And I know Papa Brad, he'll be testing this thing, putting it through its paces to see, how well it plays.
And I'll be interested with these guys getting it, because right now Wagner, I think, is the only one that has one, correct?
Yeah, Wagner's the only person I've seen that actually has one so
Well,
far.
I'll be interested to see, and this isn't to speak doom and gloom over the guys getting it, but when we Dubs and I got ours, and then I think Doug and all the other reviewers started getting them a couple weeks, or maybe it was a month later, certain things started breaking on people. Like they were getting it, like Doug's back box, I think, was dead on arrival.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see, and I hope this doesn't happen with people. If AtGames has everything working on all these orders that they're getting out. Like, I would hate for somebody to get a back box. Like, I played mine for a month without a back box because for some reason the package because they shipped it in 2 separate boxes. It wasn't strapped together.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get it for a month. So I literally had the pinball with no sound, no nothing. I could play it. P-Dubs had the opposite. He had the back box, but no table.
Yeah, early on when I would buy these home arcade products, I would only buy what I could go into the store and get.
I know.
And then I went to buying online to stores I can return to, like Walmart and Best Buy. And now I'm kind of like putting my foot out a little farther and saying I'm going to order directly through AtGames, hope it gets to my house and hope it all works. And if it doesn't, I have to hope that they have more in stock to send me. You're taking a big risk.
Don't. Trust me, wait, give it a year. I'm telling you, because if the games aren't ready, look how long, and I'll tell you guys the same thing with the Legends Ultimate 4K. When the Legends Ultimate 4K, wait, give it a year, because I don't know about you guys, and I know it's not directed toward that, but I don't care if I can play my Legends or my retro games in 4K right out the gate, because it's going to take longer for them to get the accessibility to play some of these higher end games. Wait. That's all I'm telling you. Wait. We've learned it with Arcade 1-Up. I'm telling you, I got my Legends Ultimate 1.3 for $130, brand new from Sam's Club with price match. And I had the original V1 that I bought because I waited.
I wish I would have gotten that pinball deal. I was moving from Texas to Arizona during that time, and that was the only reason I didn't get it. Because I was like, I don't want to move it across country, but if I hadn't, I would have bought that in a heartbeat. That was a killer deal that those people got in on.
I think Bill took advantage of that. I think he got the ALP.
Yeah, he sure did. I had like $239.
Just wait. That's all I'm telling everybody. Just wait. And if they prove me wrong, well, you're not out anything.
Right. Well, last subject here, guys. So we don't want to keep Steven all night. I know you're on the East Coast too, so it's getting late.
We're good. But
got one big subject left here. That's going to be New Wave Toys. They had a big announcement this week, and it was this pinball called a MiniPin, and it's not playable. It does look really cool. It's got some cool sounds to it. It's got a lot of the features, lights, sounds that the original would have, but you can't play it. What are your initial thoughts, and what do you think about this MiniPin announcement that New Wave Toys made this week?
So I was pretty pumped about it. I thought they nailed how it looks, at least from the video that we all saw, right? And the render. I know a lot of people have been bumming it that you can't play it. And my argument for that, and shoot me if you guys will, is you can't play it. Do we really care about that? Like, because I have all these New Wave Toys lined up right in front of my broadcast area over there that they don't get played. I turn them on, put them in a track mode. It's just cool to see these 1/6 scale cabinets in the same room as the 3/4 scale, and people get to see these and almost to a T of what it looked like, the original arcade looked like, right? And I think the pinball adding to that, some people like Glenn, and you mentioned earlier in the show that people like to just display these. They collect them. I think this is fine. I think it has the original sounds. It has, a nice track mode with it. Is it 100% accurate? No, nothing ever is. People are complaining it was a $200 price point, but they're giving you 20% off, which brings it about to $159 or $160. I mean, like, I think I think it's fine if you're a collector. Most of us, we get these new wave toys. We play it one time when we do our review, and then we never touch it again. We don't even hook it to our TVs. We don't do any of that stuff. And let's be honest, Biggie, are you going to sit there and play pinball with your big hands on a 1/6 scale pinball machine? Are you going to really do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. Now, my experience is the Ghost and Goblins. I have their Ghost and Goblins. It is playable. Now, how much have I played it in that micro form? Very little, but I do like the option of being able to turn it on and play it for a few minutes with that little joystick and those little buttons. So I was pretty upset, or not upset, but disappointed, I would say, that they didn't make it playable. Um, I felt like, just not only for myself, but from a buyer perspective, I felt like it wasn't going to do well. And I didn't want to see that for New Wave toys. That was my initial thought. And so I'd also run a poll on all this, and I'll share that poll here. This has got 103 votes as of today. And I was pretty, I don't know, I wasn't friendly, or like putting out the, I guess, company approved options for this poll. If New Wave Toys had their way, they probably wouldn't even allowed 3 of these 4 to be an option on this poll. But I wanted it to be a real kind of like, see a big picture of what our community feels as a community, and also ask that hard question: does it need to be playable? Is it too small for you? Is it too expensive? I wanted to get those answers from people.
You're asking the wrong audience, and I'm going to throw this at you. And everybody in this community, everybody that's watching the show, ask yourself this question: what's the name of the company that makes this?
New Wave Toys.
What's the last word in that name?
Toy.
Exactly. They're not New Wave Arcade. They're not New Wave playable arcades. They're New Wave Toys. They make collectibles. So if you go with that mindset, and I'm not trying to stand up for the company here, but if you go with that mindset, your expectations come down. They're not an arcade one-up where they've been making arcades and pinballs. They're not AtGames. New Wave Toys. They make toys.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where my mind goes with it. And I think if people are expecting it to be something that it's not, that's the expectation, the unreal expectation they put on it, not the company. The company makes collectibles, period.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. It's like, we can't expect too much out of these, because end of the day, they are toys.
That's right.
And they're not advertising them as anything different than a toy. So I see your point on that, but it also is a lot of money. I mean, these things are $200.
Collectibles are
a lot
money.
of the arcade one-ups I've bought are $200. So it's a hard sell for me at that price. But here were the results. Exactly what I wanted. So this came out exactly the way everyone wanted to see it. 6%. Needs to be playable, 52%. Too small, 9%. Too expensive, 33%. So what I took from this poll were the people that could see past it being non-playable. Over half of the people said it's got to be playable for me to even consider buying it. But for the other half, the other 50% that said it doesn't have to be playable, more than half of those said it was too expensive. And that's where I land. I land in the too expensive, where I could have seen past it if it would just been $100 or $120.
We get these collector's editions. Here's a Street Fighter collector's edition for Xbox Series X. I also have the PlayStation 5 one. $250 for this, and you get people are like, oh, well, we play with toys. Not all the toys you play with. These collectibles. Okay, you get all that stuff in there. Okay. $250. There's other collectible arcade. There's other collectibles like this that you buy that has no game with it that are $200-$300, and people still buy them, and they just put them on their shelf. So I guess that's my, if you want to call it, justification. Now, I didn't pay $250 for this. I got it on the GameStop clearance. But my point is, you buy these collectibles to sit on your shelf, and you don't do anything with them. So New Wave Toys is no different. Collectibles cost money. I've got other games that just sit on my shelf and they're collectibles. So
Yeah.
that's where I
And I
stand.
see what you're saying. And for those, okay, so like for Arcade One Up, they call their customer that buys all their products a well. And that's someone that buys everything. Well, what you're speaking of, it covers those customers. But if they
Mhm.
ever want to branch out, they ever want to grow their company, they're going to have to start appealing to other buyers, people like me that aren't really into collecting so much the toys. I'm more so into collecting, authentic recreations of real arcades that I can actually play. And I think a lot of the viewers that watch my channel are that way too. They
Okay.
don't own a lot of new wave toys, or maybe they've never bought one before, and they like stuff that they can actually play. And they're gamers. They like chasing high scores. They like playing competitively online, or they like just being able to walk up to it and actually play it. So I think that's probably one of the hardest sells for people like me is that it's not playable. And when I hear non-playable, I think, okay, well, it's got to be like $80. It's got to be $60, like those cigarette machines, those USB cigarette
But think
machines.
about all the detail they had to put into that, even on the play field. I mean,
Hmm.
you're just seeing renders. I mean, what if you looked at it and all the bumpers are there and everything? Like that's not a digital play field.
Hmm.
So I think that's where the expense comes in. I get it. People were saying, I think one of the chat rooms said that, well, New Wave Toys has a history of making playable machines. I get it. Arcade One Up also has a history of making 3/4 scale, but they did the XL. My point is companies make different lines that are going to have, and everybody has their opinion on this. I know people are mad that it's not playable. That's fine. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. I'm just trying to help you see it from a different perspective as to why I don't think it's a big deal because honestly, I would play it one time for the review and it would go on my shelf. Maybe I'd get little kids that stop over, right? And
Hmm.
I've had that twice since I've had these and they sat there and played it for like 20 minutes and then they were done and moved on to the big ones. So I really I don't think it's a big deal. I
Yeah.
think people are making more out of it than really should be.
And I think, as far as the price too, it was $199. And then if
Okay.
you pre-order this week, it's, what is it?
160.
160.
Yep.
So I don't think that's a bad price. Like I don't feel like they're ripping people off or they're just like making boatloads of money at that price of 160 or even 199. I feel like the quality is behind it and there's a reason why it costs that much, talking about the play field, all these little lights that are going on in here, all the sounds. I mean, it is a quality product and it probably costs them a lot to make this. There's probably a lot of
Yeah.
expense behind sourcing these parts and making this happen. Um, so we'll see. I don't normally pre-order anything. So maybe, this isn't coming out till Halloween. So maybe around Halloween, Thanksgiving, when it goes up for sale on the website, I may end up buying it. But I don't know. My initial impression just right out the gate is I wish it would have been playable. If it wasn't playable, I wish it would have been less money.
I'm
Um,
interested to see if the back box opens. It looks like there's a hinge on top.
yeah, there is.
And I'm wondering why the hinge is there. Is there more mechanics inside that they show you with it? And honestly, I could see a lot of our community buying this and putting it on the top of their pinball machines, like if they have the one ups like I do, and
Hmm.
they just kind of turn them sideways on top. Like I even thought about doing that to display them with like even on the Legends, right? It has black hole to
Hmm.
have that there. I think that would be kind of cool to have like the original pinball cabinet there on top of it. I don't know. I guess that's what I way I see it.
Yeah. So looking at the New Wave Toys website here, the only thing that I own right now is the Ghost and Goblins and the new Coke machine. So I've got
Okay.
this one here sold out. I was amazed with this product. I was really happy with the Ghost and Goblins. I think it's come a long way. And
Hmm.
I think buying it at this point, like meaning now and going forward, is a really good time to get in on New Wave Toys because you've got the coin op function now. You've got the best looking screen that they've ever had. and the marquee looks really good. HDMI out, controller support. So really high on the Ghost and Goblins, and I'm gonna definitely be getting the Berserk as soon as it comes out, like day one.
Nice.
Um, so
Do
like
you do
this
you have
year.
the coin
Oh,
machine that has the charger?
do not. No. So all I've got so far is the new Coke machine and
Okay.
the Ghost and Goblins.
So my one buddy from work for Christmas got me the USB charger, and then I have 4, 5, 6, 7 of the New Wave toys cabinets, and then the Coke machine, and I have all of the cabinets in front plugged into that USB charger, so I can power all of them at one time,
Hmm.
just like you would do like with a smart outlet. It's kind of cool because then you got like a little lineup like you do with the one ups, um, for like a mini arcade, and then I've got a few of the bar stools that they had sent. But that there's a game changer, and I have the Xbox fridge, and that thing, the Coke machine it keeps your stuff so much cooler.
Yeah. Now, my new Coke machine, I need to do a review on. I haven't opened it yet, but I heard Shiloh say something on Friday. Did you watch his interview with Glenn?
No, I didn't get to see that yet.
Okay. He said something during that interview or during that show where he had said the new Coke machine is already showing signs that it's going to be a big time collectible. It's going to be worth a lot of money.
Wow.
They're not going to actually go back and make any more of them. And I've been on the Facebook group, and some of the people out there are talking about how they're keeping them sealed. Some people are buying double. They're buying one that they can open, one that they can keep sealed, because obviously it'll be worth more in the
Right.
cellophane wrap,
So you're
still
not going to
sealed.
open yours.
Well, I've got to open mine because I got to make a review on it, but it's really difficult to open it because it could be worth so much in the future.
I have the
Um,
new Coke machine. My son's got the old one.
yeah,
Like it says the old Coke logo. But his is open. He uses it for a refrigerator. Um, I haven't used mine as a refrigerator in a while. It just has the light. I leave the light on all the time with it.
yeah. See, Tony, he said, I have an extra
Probably
new
shouldn't.
Coke machine, new in box. Guess I will keep it for now. So, yeah, Tony, you're in a perfect situation because Shiloh's already said this is the one that they have that's going to be big
Yeah.
time collectible in the future.
Anything Coke, Pepsi,
Yeah,
Coke, mainly Coke.
especially the new Coke because it
Yeah.
was so limited when it was around when they released it, and then also this will be extremely limited. So that's kind of cool, the collectible value of these things, and trying to buy the ones you think are going to be worth the most in the future. That's kind of a fun hobby too.
All of them
Um,
have gone up though in price. Honestly, if you go on eBay and look, even Ghost Goblins, Cubert. My Cubert is actually signed by Warren Davis. I took mine when he was at one of the conventions. He signed that in the box.
mhm.
So my New Wave Toys Cubert is signed by him. I've got the video of him signing it. That to me will probably be worth the most out of all of them because of him signing it. Um,
So something I've noticed here, just going through the website this week, is they've got a couple of issues with the website. Like Berserk and Frenzy used to have their own spot on the website. Now they don't
hmm,
have it at all. And then they do have this where it's like a double where you can buy both Frenzy and Berserk, but
getting
you
sold
go
out.
to it and it's a broken link. So I think they're doing some maintenance on the website right now.
Yeah, could be.
But
Um,
what I hear on Friday, the Berserk is right around the corner. Like March, I think they said, is when that will officially release.
okay. And I have that boom box too. The boom box that shot. Do you that one? Yeah, where you wear it around your neck.
Oh, this one or this one?
There's a chain one that you can put around your neck.
This is
Shiloh
the,
was
yeah,
yeah,
here it
that
is.
one. Shiloh was wearing it around his neck. I have that one too.
Yeah, they're getting into all kinds of stuff. They're doing the little boom boxes.
Yeah.
Glenn was talking about how they need to do a jukebox with the records.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they could start doing that, and they said that that's something they've considered. They're getting into the t-shirts, the
I
hoodies.
missed out on that T-shirt. I didn't even know that they were up for pre-order. I was
Yeah,
so bummed when I saw that. So yes, I'm gonna put it out there. I contacted them and I said, "Hey, can I buy? Do you guys got extras? Can I buy one? I'm waiting to hear back because I was living in a rock, I guess. Didn't know that it was. I never got an email about it, so I was bummed.
So there's some that are signed by the creator of these, Dirty Donnie. Those are more expensive. They're about to release some that aren't signed, and they're going to be like $20 a shirt. So
Oh,
if you're
okay.
looking
Yeah,
to
I don't
get
need it
some, they're
signed.
going to have more coming.
Okay. I don't need it. I don't
I
need it
wouldn't want
signed.
it signed either. I would
No,
just want the shirt to
I
wear
don't
it.
know that guy. Yeah, I don't care. I already got Shiloh. He signed my shirt at the convention. So,
Awesome.
but but yeah, like the cigarette. I wasn't into that. Like I would have got the other one. What is it? Not the cool. The other one I would
The
have got.
Artomat.
Yeah. Um. I understand why it was made, but I just wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot of people saying, they wanted USB ports, charging ports on the pinball, because if it's not going to be playable, it at least needs to have a purpose as far as charging the other ones. And he had said on Friday they may be able to include one or possibly two USB ports on the back for
See, I
that.
agree with that, 1 or 2, and I'll tell you why. And hopefully if Shiloh's watching this or if he sees it or somebody sees it, what you need to do is make them daisy chainable. So like Biggie, you've got 2 New Wave toys.
Hmm.
You plug one in. It'd be nice to daisy chain USB to each of them so you're not taking up 3 plug spots on your power strip, right? You could
Hmm.
just daisy chain them. That is something I'd like to see with the pinball since they're not being played.
Hmm.
I would like the daisy chain one USB to the next and have a second USB that comes out, goes to the next one, and so forth and so on. And you
Hmm.
just plug one of them, and that would get people to buy more. I think. I
Yeah.
wish these other ones were like that, where I could daisy chain power them off of each other.
Yeah,
Um,
because once you start setting them up,
oh
lining them
yes,
up, you're going to
yep,
run out of power sources pretty quick. So I think
yep.
anytime you can include extra USB ports for powering your various arcades, your new wave toys, that's going to be huge. People are going to be wanting that.
Yeah,
So
because a lot of these guys do that. Glenn collects them. I saw a couple guys in here that said that they were doing it like that. So, um, I'd like to see that personally. I have a little bit more different setup than most people. So my room is set up for power because of the way I have my breakers set up. But not everybody has that luxury, right?
hmm yeah, and that's something I've been hearing a lot. And this pinball machine, I mean, it something I took from Glenn's show on Friday and listening to Shiloh for a couple hours is New Wave Toys has invested a lot of time and a lot of effort into this black hole mini pin. I mean, they're kind of all in right now, and they really have to see this thing be successful. And I'm such a big fan of New Wave Toys. It's like I almost just want to buy this thing just to help
Just
support
to
them
support.
and help move them along because he's such a great guy. They're such a great company, and I just want to see them succeed and do well. So we'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to continue to talk about these, and we'll see if I end up buying one.
They were really
Um,
cool in Cleveland. That was like the best when we got to sit there and chill and talk to them. And I think they made fans for life from with a lot of the content creators and even people that were there because they were just so down to earth. Eduardo was coming over and there's times they weren't busy. He came over, sat down, and he was talking about the new wave toy. You saw it. They brought the Coke machine over because the drinks that I had there were warm.
yeah,
And Eduardo's like, I think it was Detroit Love's like, oh, we got to get you one of them Coke machines. Well, I was still on air. He's like, I got you. He got up, went over. Eduardo's like, yeah, send it over. We brought it over. We had that Coke machine plugged in, and we did the interview with Glenn and Shiloh. And Shiloh's, you got anything to drink? I was like, as a matter of fact, I do. It wasn't even planned, and we pulled it out of that refrigerator. He's like, wow, this is cold. It's like, yeah, it's your refrigerator. It's like, oh yeah, it's my refrigerator. Like,
yeah. One quick
um,
question because I'm about to unbox my new Coke, and I'm going to start doing my review. A lot of people talk about how often do they cool their drinks in it. Some people just do it on the weekends. Some people just do it
okay.
every once in a while. Very few people will have it running all the time because there's a lot of condensation that builds up in there. Are you having that issue?
Yeah, it does build up a lot of in fact, it gets snow in there, so I call it snow, but it gets the ice forming in there. And my sons, what we just do is, instead of leaving it on our refrigerator all the time, we just put the light on, we wipe it down inside. But yeah, it gets really cold in there. Not gonna lie. Like the Xbox one is like room temperature. And that gets condensation, but the New Wave Toys one is so much colder.
Yeah, that's
Like
awesome. So
it's like pulling out of your refrigerator. It's that cold, and I'm not kidding.
yeah, that's one reason that the New Wave Toys would be on my desk at work is because it would cool my drinks. And I do
Yeah,
drink like a soda or two during the day. So the fact that it holds one or two drinks is perfect for me.
it was perfect there for when we were at the convention. In fact, I would consider even packing mine to go, if I go, like, I'm supposed to be going back to Cleveland again this year. I'm
Hmm.
packing that New Wave Toys. You know, I'm packing that refrigerator because that was great for drinks.
I've been seeing a lot of requests for Dr. Pepper and other sodas as well. I would
Yeah,
love to see
everybody has
Dr.
their
Pepper. Thor
favorite
says
drink.
pre-orders awaiting delivery for me. Zoltar, Berserk, Frenzy, Cigarette Machine, Artomat Machine, and Black Hole Mini Pen. So he's pre-ordered everything.
So
Zolt
Zoltar hasn't shipped yet?
No, it's been delayed because there's like a ticket feeder in there, and they're trying to
Oh,
get that to work. So there's been a little bit of a delay with Zoltar. Berserk and Frenzy had a delay because they're trying to get the Stern logo, but that ended up not working out. It's going to
okay.
have an Atari logo on there that kind of looks like the Stern logo, but that they've kind of finalized, and that should be coming out in March. Cigarette Machine and Artomat, I don't know timeline on that yet. And then the Black Hole Mini Pin is Halloween.
Yeah, I
So
thought the cigarette machine was supposed to come spring. I thought that's what they said at Cleveland, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I would imagine March will probably
Yeah,
be the same time we get
unless it was
those.
delayed. Unless it was delayed. Um, before we wrap here,
Mm-hmm.
um, I wanted to kind of I wanted to kind of get your thoughts. Like we were talking about Arcade One Up earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and how I had been saying last year, and I'll go on record here on the show and say it. I had said last year that Arcade One Up is probably going to sell the company first or second quarter this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're on their last ditch effort. They keep putting out, and when I see that in a company, they keep putting out, "Oh, we're making money, we're making money." That tells me that they're in trouble. Like
Mm-hmm.
people are paying attention to how much money. Um, I want to clarify something though when I say that. Just because they're selling the company doesn't mean it's going to go away and they're not going to make arcades. What I mean by that is the old regime or new owners, maybe they have new investors that buy the company and it becomes like before it was under tastemakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it might go under somebody else. Now they could kill off the company, they might keep it going. And so that could be a plus or a minus for us. But for 2024, I know they were all sitting there saying, "Oh, it's going to be the year we're going to get new cabinets." I think we're going to get a lot of rehashes because they're trying to recoup some costs. I think we may get one or two new titles. That's about it. I don't foresee this blowout of all kinds of titles. Maybe I'm wrong. I think when John D left, he took a lot of licenses with him because he was their license guy and they worked with him. So
Mm-hmm.
that list that was floating around, that was the list. But after he left, that no longer was valid. And I think these other companies are going to push Arcade One Up to do better. I really do. So I'm kind of sitting back with bated breath to see what 2024, because you've seen it. People are mad. Like there hasn't been one announcement yet this year of any particular new cabinet coming, and I kind of expected that, but I really did, and I'm not surprised by it.
Yeah. So I spent all of last year talking about the potential cabinets that Arcade One Up could be releasing this year. But then I realized around CES that none of that was going to happen. They pretty much flat out came out and said nothing's going to happen this year. So all we're going to get are going to be, re-releases of things we've already seen. Now, what are they going to produce in a factory this year? Probably not much. A lot of the
Mhm.
deluxe cabinets, the XLs we've seen, There's plenty out there. There's plenty of inventory for the deluxe cabinets. I don't even know for the XLs if Costco has gone back and asked for more. So I don't know if they're going to produce any XLs. My gut is telling me we're just going to get classic cabinets because Walmart has sold a lot of those. So they're going to need to replenish that inventory. And then countercades. Now, Target had a real big end of the year with Arcade One Up selling the Miss Pac-Man countercade and the Marvel Superheroes countercade. So I see them Target going in and placing a large order of those. And I think those are going to be like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the NBA Jam, more of the Marvel Superheroes, and Miss Pac-Man. So my gut and what I'm saying is countercades, classic cabinets. You may see some new stuff in that area, maybe some changes in those cabinets, but nothing new for deluxe, nothing new for XL this year. And that plays into what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to low risk, high reward, and that fits their business model for this year. And I think you're right. They're lining everything up to sell the company. That's their ultimate goal.
Boost profits.
If they're able to sell the company, that's really good for us because then we may see some really cool stuff then. But if the company stays in the hands of the people that are owning it right now, it'll just slowly die and it'll never, be talked about
again. That's why I wanted to stress that don't think it's being negative when a bunch of us guys are saying we're seeing the writing on the wall. They're going to sell the company. Don't be like, oh, they're just being negative. No, that's a good thing if they sell the company because it's going to better in the long run. And I see a lot of rumors around there that John D is back. John D is not back. He is not back in Arcade One Up. He's not going back. You got to remember, John D worked at Capcom. He's involved in video games in some form or fashion. It's going to come out eventually what John D's doing and what it pertains to the video game world. You just got to be patient. I'm sure it'll end up as he's just back in the community. He may be getting ready to say what his next venture is, and maybe it has to do with home arcade. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it has to do with pinballs. Maybe it doesn't. We don't know, but I will say he's not going back to Arcade One Up.
Oh, definite. Yeah, there's no path for him to go back to Arcade One Up. That's like impossible. Unless the company sold and the new ownership says we want to bring you back. Yeah. Or he buys the company himself. I think because last I spoke to John, he had said he was going to pop back up around CES in January, which he has. He's made himself public again. But then there's a lot of rumors around April. Something's going to happen in April. And that could be like he could be going to Unico. He could be going into AtGames. I asked him about AtGames, and he had said that he just they don't really bring what he likes. Like the products they release aren't really fitting what he
would bring out. What if he's starting his own company? What if he's going to get in the ring and box with these other 3/4 scale companies?
Start his own company.
What if he's going to do that? Nobody's talked about that. Nobody even gave the guy an opportunity and said, you know what, maybe John D's going to start his own company. Maybe he's going to take the licenses and relationships that he had, build his own cabinets the way you, the community, and I, the community, have wanted it. Maybe that's what he's going to do. We don't know. We're all speculating. I think that's more believable than thinking he's going back to Arcade One Up. If anything, if they let him go, he's going to want to bury Arcade One Up. So how do you do that? You create a company and you go for the jugular, right?
My best guess right now is he's going to Unico. If I had to guess, but I like the idea of him bringing in his own products and making his own company. I think he would run a company very well. He's got a lot of experience. If he had the money and the investment behind it, I think the sky's the limit for him. He could bring us some really amazing stuff.
And that's 100%. A guy like him who knows how to do licensing is a value to some company out there, right? It's just a matter if it fits into his niche of what he wants to do. I mean, obviously, if he doesn't enjoy working for the company, he's not going to work for him, right?
Yeah. I'd like to see him go back to Sega and see Sega bring out like a Dreamcast Mini or an arcade.
Right. That would be. I like the idea of the potential of him going to Unico with their new candy cab. and maybe him helping spearhead that. I think that's a good possibility. But I also think that he's not done in the gaming space, and I think that's why
Yeah.
he's trying to get back where he's getting his name in the community to create a buzz, because when April comes and he makes whatever announcement he's going to make, the community is going to lose their mind. That they like they always do, because he's been in the forefront. Even with Arcade One Up, he's been in the community, and there's people that hate him, there's people that love him, and that's just the type of personality that he's had throughout the years. And whatever he does, eyes are going to be on it. I
Hmm.
can guarantee that.
Yeah, I remember everybody was so hard on him back when he was in the public, a public figure for Arcade One Up, but now everyone misses him. Like even the people that would, say negative things about him, we all miss him now. It's like we wish he was back.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hear, because I heard some rumors that he was going to do that as well in April. Um, and I think it'll be cool. I think I wish him the best of whatever whatever he decides to do. But I think somebody of John's caliber, I think at the point of his life where he was like, you're a senior vice president of licensing in a company. The only place you can go is up. And for me, the next logical sense would be a CEO of a company, either
Hmm.
CEO of a company or own your own company, right? And
Hmm.
before anybody says anything, I have no inside information. He hasn't said anything to me. I haven't talked to him in probably since uh, he left Arcade One Up back in June of last year. So this is all speculatory, but it just makes sense. It's kind of like what you're saying, Biggie. Like it just makes sense. Those would be his opportunity. But I do know Arcade One Up's off the table, because I think they're going different directions.
Yeah. And there's been some talk about like when is John gonna come on stream, like be on a stream like this again. I had asked him to come on my channel, didn't get a response back, but I think it's B Kong. If Kongs R Us wants to have him, that'll
Okay.
probably be his first interview.
Yeah.
And I think I remember talking to John about that, and he had said to me, if my first interview back or my first live stream back, it's going to be on Kong's channel.
Well, Kongs
So
did a lot with him with the charity streams and stuff like that. So it just makes sense.
mhm. And just one thing I want to mention too is just how much different it is now with him gone. Like Arcade Went Up when he was there compared
Mhm.
to Arcade Went Up today with him gone. It's like two totally different companies.
Yeah, but things go in cycle. Like I remember when Arcade One Up first came out, late 2018, 2019, around that, and nobody in this space was doing like live streams, and
Hmm.
we started doing it with the Retro Buzz, and a few others jumped on board. Scott Backrack and John D thought it was the greatest thing in the world. They'd never seen it. They were like jumping on the show. They were telling us all kinds of stuff. It was a fun time, and a lot of the guys in the chat room that have been around for that time period, they'll remember like how exciting it was, how much fun, like it felt like the company was listening to us. They were trying to appease us, whether or not we got what we asked for, but they were at least listening. And I
Hmm.
feel like there's been a disconnect. I think it's been too political. And that's why I think it's funny when I hear, and I'll just say it, I think it's funny when I hear Travis go, well, I'm the voice of the voiceless. I'm going to bat for you guys. And without me, you wouldn't get this. It's like,
Hmm.
Travis, we've been there, we've done that, we wrote the book. We were the voice of the voiceless back in 2018, 2019, before he even stepped foot in the community.
Hmm.
So it's like repeating cycles, right? Like these Arcade One Ups going through that repeating of cycles, just under a different regime. John D had his boys, Travis has his boys. Like it just doesn't end. And I think they're at the point it has to change. And they
Hmm.
need to start listening to the people that are spending the most money, in the community. And I think AtGames is slowly going that direction too, where they're not listening to people. And that could be their downfall.
Yeah. Well, talking about Arcade One Up, I've got my Fast and the Furious in the box still. I was actually supposed to move next month. I was going to transfer apartments. I ended up just sticking where I'm at. So I'm going to be unboxing and setting that thing up soon. So you guys look for a review soon on Fast and the Furious. Steven, you've got one or two of those.
I have one right now because they've been sold out everywhere for me. But eventually I would like to get another one. I would. We
Yeah,
have
it has
fun
that
doing that.
linkable technology where you can. A lot of
Yeah.
people I see that own them own two. So if I really like mine, I might end up buying a second one as well, just so I can have a friend come over and we can race together. Well, you guys look forward to Fast and the Furious content coming up. And I know you've been really high on yours, Steven. You love yours. So,
I do, and I think the guys from Canada there, the Buy Stuff arcades, they
mhm.
are making a mod for the Fast and Furious with the original ROMs from the different games
Oh,
that you're
nice.
gonna be able to mod it. So even if you're Biggie, if you're not a fan of the
Hmm.
game and you're not like, "Well, it's not as fun." I know Steven says it's fun, but, if it's not as fun to you, you can always get that mod and put it in, and get the original ROMs that they're making work on the
Yeah, I
boxes.
did see that actually. I was really happy to see that they were going to do a mod for it as well.
Mhm.
Do you feel like the Fast and the Furious is like one of those cabinets that that one game is just not enough that you're going to be looking to mod it here soon?
No, I wanna mod it only because I'd like to get the original ROMs for it, but at the same time, my kids, we all get on there, we're trying to build all of the cars up to where they're max. Like,
Hmm.
because you can go through on your own profile and get every car that's in there and get them maxed out.
Hmm.
Um, I modded my with the Buy Stuff store, my sit down Star Wars and my Ridge Racer, and they can play each other, like in driving games and stuff with the
Hmm.
Buy Stuff mod. That's a lot of fun. They play it. The only thing with the Buy Stuff mod, at least with those, the controls to maneuver around the menus is very clunky, and it's not Buy Stuff Store's fault. It's
Hmm.
just how it's done through the Android box. That's my only that's my only gripe with the mods on those two. And I know you can reconfigure all that stuff and they might have updates to it now, but that was my only complaint if I was going to be completely honest. So this one here I'm kind of excited. I'd love to check it out. Maybe do a video on it um if they were willing to send it out, but if
Yeah,
not, I would probably wait.
one of my concerns going into it is I'm 6'4", and I know this is one of the tallest ones they've made as far as the steering wheel height and the screen height.
Yeah.
So I think this one's going to fit me the best as far as being a taller person, but I'm probably still going to need a few more inches.
Do
So
you
I'm
have
hoping
Terminator?
I don't have Terminator.
Have you seen it? Have you been next to it at all?
I have not. I've actually
Okay.
not seen it in person. How is the screen height compared to Fast and the Furious and T2?
It's Well, the Fast and Furious is probably, I'm looking at it now. That's why I'm looking over there. It's probably about 4 inches higher than Ridge Racer.
Hmm.
But the cabinet size is probably about as tall as Big Blue and Terminator.
Okay, so
So
it's got a pretty high screen.
it's got a pretty high screen. It's like I said, it's the same height as Ridge Racer with their topper on it, on
Hmm.
the Ridge Racer topper. Um, but I haven't found myself like kinking my neck or anything trying to do it. But get the pedal covers; it's a must.
Yeah, those are an easy, inexpensive mod to do.
Have them on all of mine. The
And then you
only
don't
way to do it.
makes those pedals a little more durable too because they're just
Yep.
plastic the way they come.
Yep.
Um,
100%. Do that. Do that. But yeah, the Fast and Furious, man, I love this. I love the franchise. So even if somebody came in and was like, well, it looks kind of pixely or it looks kind of old or it looks kind of, it's still fun. We have a blast with it. And it has nothing. I don't care if it said iArcade on it. It's still fun. And you know, I wasn't a big iArcade fan there toward the end.
mhm.
Um, and it could say, I don't care whose name is it. It's just, it's a fun, I have fun with it. It's not the original ROM, but it's still fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be my first racing cabinet. So I've got pinball, I've got arcades, I've got my send-in light guns. So I've got my light gun games
Nice.
now, and then I'll have my racer. So I'll have like a full arcade experience at home now. This will kind of complete that for me. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm thinking
But
about possibly buying Glenn's guns for my buck hunter.
oh, his boomstick.
His booms, but I got to get to him, so that's gonna like rock me $500. I just gotta wait till after everything's situated with the kid and stuff before I make like something like a really huge purchase like that. Just because my guns work fine, but like to support his Glen, like when I did you hold it at Cleveland?
Yeah, I was really impressed with it at Cleveland. I ended up just going directly through Sinden and getting two of those for like the same
Okay,
price as one of his because they were so expensive. It was, I think, like $250 or something like that, wasn't it?
okay, yeah, yeah. They're $250 a piece, but I thought his were different than Sinden or the
It's the
Sindens.
same technology, but it's got a
Okay,
a shotgun stock on it. With it's a little more comfortable to hold. That is one thing I'll say about the Sinden handgun that they sell directly through their website is it
Mhm.
is, over time it's going to wear you out holding that
Right.
gun up. But having the shotgun, the style he has, you hold it with two hands, you kind of rest it in your shoulder, and you can play for longer periods of time. So I am interested, and I do like what Glenn did with his. It's just a little out of my price range for me. I know
Yeah,
he tried to get that price lower. He just couldn't.
it's expensive, but for me, it's durability because if these guns break and I have a lot of like my nieces and nephews come over and that's the game they go to is Big Buck Hunter.
Hmm.
Because I'm in an area where hunting is very prevalent, right? So
Yeah.
they go to that one. Terminator's a little higher, so they have to have a stool, and it's hard to get two stools side by side to play Terminator. So it's usually like one kid sitting up there with two guns, and they sit there. So that's what I'm worried about is the durability. And so far, the durability of these have been good, but they dropped the gun. At least with Glenn's gun, I think it would survive.
Yeah. And that is nice how it's plug and play with the Big Buck arcade one up. He says you can just plug it in and it'll work. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so I have to look at it.
But really appreciate you, Stephen, joining us tonight. This has been a long stream. It's been one of my longer ones, but we've had a lot to talk about. There's so much stuff right now, cool stuff to talk about that's coming, and it's been a pleasure, having you as a guest.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. It was great to just chill and talk, have fun, and talk video games, no matter what company they are, right?
Right? Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to your show coming back too. When did you say that's going to start back up again?
So originally, we when we were talking about it, we were going to do it in sometime in January, and then we found out that my wife was pregnant and all that, and so I'm thinking if all goes well, maybe by March we should be able to start it up. Um, it really depends on how everything gets adjusted with the new baby and everything like that. If I'm not getting a lot of sleep, being up like late like this is just not going to work with
Yeah,
having to go to work in the
this
morning.
is
So
like your last chance to stay up late.
yeah, yeah. So um, that's going to be the determining factor. So, but tentatively around March, I still have to talk with them about finalizing a date. But it'll be a lot of fun, and I think everybody will have fun with the band back together.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I miss your show that you had on Thursday nights, and it was always a go-to for me. I'd never miss. So I'm looking forward to you being back on air and having a regular weekly show again.
Yeah, that we had fun with game time. It's just we rotated through so many co-hosts because everybody decided they wanted to do their thing in that, and which is fine. Hey, it is what it is. We made it work for as long as it could, and then it was just kind of like I didn't want to just do a show just to do a show. Like I didn't want the drama, I didn't want competition, I didn't want any of that stuff. I just wanted to come on. I do this stuff for a living. I don't, I want to have fun, right?
Hmm.
And so that's when I talked to the boys and I was like, so what do you guys think? And I was surprised that they were both on board. I didn't even have to twist any arms.
Yeah, that's amazing that Cool Toys wanted to come back
Yeah.
because I know he's so focused and he's so successful on his produced content. To get him on your show, that's a big deal.
He had fun the last time we did it. I know neither him nor Glenn want to do um home arcade per se. Like
Hmm.
obviously Glenn will talk about any products that he's making and stuff, but we want to focus more on the video game aspect and talk about video games. And if it happens to be a real arcade or it happens to be something in a home arcade, then we will. But it's not like we're not going to just sit there and focus home arcade. That's just not. I
Yeah,
think we're all over that. Just like
yeah.
you didn't
Even
focus on
towards the
that.
end of your game time, you were going that direction.
Yeah, we want to have. We want it to be about the games. We want to do it. Maybe Glenn's experience in the history of it.
Hmm.
Um, even emulation devices like you were showing earlier and stuff. I think that's where everybody is right now, right?
Hmm.
Like the home arcade space is fun, but it's just not what it was 3 years ago or even 4 years ago. So, not saying people hate it, but I think it's just there's a lot of content about that out there and people doing a great job with it. We want to do something a little different.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks, Stephen, for coming on. And you guys have a good rest of your night, everybody. Good rest of Sunday evening. Good start to your week on Monday. And you guys stay tuned in. Like I said, I've got Fast and the Furious content coming up because I'm about to unbox that thing, and be a lot of fun doing that with you guys. So stay tuned in, and I'll see everyone in the next one. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.